What's going on, boys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Guru. Now, we have a lot to discuss. We have the POATAN getting his belt back at UFC 320. And you know we got my man, MMA Guru here.
Sham, MMA Guru on this side of the screen. We're going to be discussing all things UFC 320 though, because that's not the only amazing thing that happened on the card when Alex Pereira took out Ankalaev once and for all and put him in the dust. We're also going to be discussing Merab's tenacious decision win over Cory Sandhagen. Prochazka entering a flow state, the likes of which I've never seen before against Khalil Rountre in their fight. The rest of the card, the things coming up, the current events, BKFC, PFL conundrums and catastrophes. We're going to be going over everything in today's episode of the Mighty Guru Show. Stay tuned. He's out cold badly. John Jones' defense out of Demetrious Johnson there at the end. I am a piece of shit, but my content's really good. Try and look beyond how terrible of a person I am.
The Mighty Guru Show. What's going on, guys? This episode of the Mighty Guru Pod is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game played directly from your phone. It's very simple. Go to your app store, download PrizePicks, use our promo code MIGHTYGURU. Play $5 and you get $50 in your lineup. And we had mixed martial arts. We had UFC 320 on, and I came so damn close. So close, Guru.
I mean, it's a disappointing showing from you, DJ. But over here in the winner's corner, we did real well, okay? We were feasting over on my side, so I went with more than 38.5 significant strikes for Khalil Rountre because I thought it was going to be a scrap. I also took Merab for more than 3.5 total rounds. I thought, you know what? Merab by decision? I like that. That's very likely going to happen. Then, Josh Emmett for less than 41.5 significant strikes. So I went pretty well. I did a little triple up sweep on my ones. It feels good over this side of the screen, DJ.
Damn, why you gonna do me like that? Why you gotta do it like rubbing it? When I got my L, when I got my W, I wasn't rubbing in your face. But you know what? As long as we both had a good time playing PrizePicks, that's all that matters. And we got our picks in at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring this episode of the Mighty Guru. Now, I hope you guys enjoy this chat as we cover everything under the sun of UFC 320. NFL season's going on right now in America, and it's just popping right now. How are you, brother? How are you, Guru?
I'm living in a different dimension right now, DJ. I could not have wished for better results out of UFC 320. I'm on cloud 9. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, but well, why are you on cloud 9? What results were you hoping to happen? I think you are happy with.
Yes. It just feels right to have Alex Pereira with the light heavyweight world championship around his waist. It just makes sense. The alternative was that we were going to be discussing, is this the end of Alex Pereira? You know, what does he do? Where does he go from here? Is it back to fighting contenders? Is it fighting like Marcin Tybura at heavyweight in his debut? Like, it was a real downgrade to get an alternative result in the main event, but now we have Alex Pereira. And if Tom beats Cyril Gane, or Cyril Gane even beats Tom in a great way, we get Alex Pereira for the heavyweight world championship at the White House in June in 2026. 3 belts opportunity for Alex Pereira, 3-weight world champion against his most dangerous test in the heavyweight division, which I'm hoping, for promotion's sakes, will be Tom Aspinall because of the build-up. The seed has been planted. What you got to jump in with, DJ?
I love that. And I think... I think going into that fight with Alex versus Ankalaev, I talked about last night on the stream is that people don't realize when you're a champion and you fight 3 times in 2024, back to back against Jiri Prochazka, Jamal Hill, I believe, and Khalil Rountre. All finishes, not like, all finishes. And each time after he did that, he would go on a tour. He would always strike from the iron top, make his most money, right? That's what athletes do. And then he turned around to fight. He fought Ankalaev, came up short, wasn't the best. He said he wasn't his best, but he never turns down a fight. But you saw a refreshed version of Alex Pereira. And I was listening to the UFC Embedded, even though Lucy Tracy MMA doesn't think it doesn't get as many views, it still puts out some good content. But one of the things that I love that Alex said, he goes, what can he do to me? There's nothing he can do to me. And right when I saw that mindset, I was like, he's going to win. Because Ankalaev went for a takedown his last time they fought. He failed at 12 attempts. 12 attempts on a guy who's never wrestled before in his life, right? I was a big fan of Alex Pereira, but I always said, you take him down, just take him down. Nobody can't do it. And nobody can fucking do it. He has probably the best takedown defense for never stepping an inch, 1 foot on a wrestling mat, and nobody can take him down. And once he said, what can he do to me? He's not going to stand and strike with me. He's not going to try to push the fight. He's going to try to, stifle me, get me thinking. But once Alex went out there with that, the Brazilian, the jungle, the presence he had on him, and boom, hit him. And then he hit him with the John Jones elbows, the 12-6, fractured the ribs. I was like, yeah, dude, he was on a different level last night, a different level.
It goes to show how much energy, confidence can translate into presence in the cage. Because I swear I was watching it, and from the first 10 seconds in, I thought, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Because I went with Ankalaev to win this time.
Really?
But I was literally thinking to myself, I'm wrong. First 15 seconds, Pereira's marching him down. And I found myself thinking, these guys were the same size. Mm-hmm. These guys were the same size in the first fight. And now I'm looking at the fight, and I'm seeing Alex Pereira as like a juggernaut in front of Ankalaev, this giant, intimidating presence in the cage. And Ankalaev immediately was like, this is different.
Yep.
This is not the guy who was on the back foot, trying to circle round, get outside foot position, tap me with some lead low kicks and stuff like that, which always has been a problem for Alex Pereira, is the fact that, the southpaw of Ankalaev, and, he can't really chop with that rear leg like he normally does, and like he did on Adesanya, who was orthodox in their fight. But one thing I loved about this one, and he even mentioned it in the post-fight press conference, he said he drew some inspiration from Jan Blachowicz, or at least I got told that. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned in the fight, he needed Ankalaev into orthodox, because that's not where Ankalaev's comfortable. And when Ankalaev's moving forward, he can shift forward in southpaw and keep it very controlled like he did in the first fight. But when Alex put him on the back foot and smashed him with inside low kicks instead, like Blachowicz did to him, he almost forced Ankalaev into orthodox. He forced him out of southpaw by smashing with inside low kicks. So much so Ankalaev's foot, once he got hit with it, went back around, and he actually just ended up in orthodox. And now he's against the cage. He's scarpering. Big old right hand over the top. A lot of mustard on it. Ankalaev wobbles. I love 12 to 6 elbows. I love 12 to 6 elbows. I can't believe you mentioned Jones done it. I really hate that was always a banned rule.
Yeah.
That is such an effective means of ground and pound, because it just seems to split right through the guard.
Yeah.
Where normal elbows, when they go for it, they sort of go across the forearms. But 12 to 6, we saw Pimlet use it against Chandler.
Yep.
Just right through the gaps in the guard, digging in, and you can see fighters on bottom feeling it a whole lot different these days.
I don't know why that rule was banned to begin with. I think it was like the California Athletic Commission maybe banned it. Don't quote me on that. Yeah. But I mean, that 12 to 6 elbow, it's a pinpoint of your elbow just going directly down, and it can fucking fracture somebody's skull, and that's why I think it was banned. But yeah, he was able to utilize that, and that's just such a nasty thing. And I always laugh, like when it's 12 to 6, it's this elbow, right? But if I'm laying down and I do the same thing, it almost generate the exact same force. So I don't know why. I mean, I think knees to ground an opponent should be legal. Like soccer kicks, I would say, you don't need to fucking kick somebody to the atmosphere.
Let's have some class. Let's have some class.
Let's have some class. But I think need to ground an opponent, the 12 to 6. I think 12 to 6 has found its place. I think a knee, if you're going to allow somebody to stand over somebody and go like that, and if I have somebody in the head and arm position, they're down, their hands down, they're playing at, I'm down, I'm a down opponent, up opponent, and I can knee him, you're getting the exact same type of, force And at least this guy's in a position where he can protect himself. If I'm down, I go like this, I just protected myself. The fight has to move, or I can go to my back and start grappling. So, but yeah, Alex Pereira, Shama is back. I think when Alex and Ankalaev, they started fighting, you can see how he didn't give Ankalaev the opportunity to get into the fight, meaning that he went directly across the void, got into his face, tried to put himself in that flow state where he moves, bop, and throws a 2-3. And I think the first time they fought, obviously, Pereira wasn't in the best shape. Like, maybe not mentally, not physically. He was battling injuries and whatnot. But this one, he was refreshed, and he put the fight in. He took the fight to Ankalaev, and they didn't give Ankalaev the opportunity to get in there. And sometimes I tell people all the time, if you just fight somebody, right? If you just go in there and fight them, they're going to have to make a decision. And when you force them to make a decision, 9 out of 10 times, it might be a bad decision. And then once he landed that shot, there was nothing much you can do. He did try for a takedown, and Alex did stuff it. And then Ankalaev crumbled up. There's nothing he can do. And I'm shocked he didn't try to do anything else, but maybe that first shot that he got hit with, just rocked him. And I think we don't give Alex Pereira enough respect of how big he is, right? I think the fact like he fought against Izzy at 185 and now he's at 205 and he walks around 232, whatever it is. Sometimes I don't feel like he's a big dude, but obviously he has to be. Well, I mean, he is, but nobody can take him down, right? And I think I kind of take that away from him and not give him the flowers, I guess, of like how big of a presence he has when he's fighting these guys, inside the octagon.
Yeah, he kind of looms over them, And I know what you mean about like when Ankalaev had to make a decision, but now when he's on the back foot and Pereira's in front of him, all of those decisions are under extreme stress. Yep. So when he shot the takedown, it was panic.
Yes.
Like, I've been hit hard, and now the takedown's out of panic. It's not out of whenever I want it, on my terms, up against the cage if I want it. And I really like that. I like that Pereira went to body shots early as well. I spoke about how he hit him with the inside low kick to maybe try and force a stance switch to, again, get him more uncomfortable. But apparently, Pereira weighed in at the fight 232 pounds on fight night. So dude's a big light heavyweight as well. And he's a looming presence.
So what is that? 232. So 10% of 205 would be what? 10% of 205. So 50% of 205.
20.5.
20.5.
10%.
So he's 10% over his weight. So technically, depending on where he fights, that would be illegal of his high hydration. Meaning that like some athletic commissions only give you the opportunity to like rehydrate 5%. Like you can't weigh more than 5 or 10% of your weight. So, that's fucking crazy.
But we're in the wild west,
yeah,
DJ.
I know, right?
Not in the logical east of 1FC.
Yeah.
It's the wild west over here, dude.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
So we got these big dudes. But I like the body shots from Pereira early.
Yeah.
That was great. Because he's never really uncorked that right hand. Because we've seen left hooks from him. We've seen head kick against Jiri. We've seen the left hook against Adesanya. Jamal Hill, he put him down with a left hook. I think he finished Belgarui, one of his own teammates, actually, with a right overhand in Glory. But we haven't seen him uncork the overhand right. And I think when he goes to the body, because if you look at when he threw the overhand right, he got really low as well.
Yeah.
He got really low and he winged it over the top.
Yep.
And when he started the fight, the first two things he did was he ran straight to Ankalaev and he went jab to the body, right hand to the body. And he even landed another right hand to the body. So when he lowered his level on Ankalaev, maybe he's thinking, the left hook's going to come up. He's doing that thing when he jabs to the body and then brings up the left hook. But no, he's doing the thing when he lowers his base and swings that right hand over the top. I wish I could understand Pereira's language and speak to him about it. But I think there was a very intentional game plan to pressure, go to the body, get him to think about a lower level, and also to force a stance switch out of him into his more uncomfortable side on the back foot whilst under pressure, which was orthodox. Yeah. Rather than southpaw. So, and then the one thing is, to open up his regular low kicks, he needed Ankalaev to be an orthodox. Yep. But I don't know if you saw it, he broke his foot on that low kick.
He kept grabbing down at his foot all the time. And that's just from Ankalaev checking, right? Because Ankalaev did check a couple of times, and that's, when people try to do the calf kick, that's why in Muay Thai you don't see calf kicks, because they'll break their fucking foot, right? They always kick the thigh. But I don't know if he broke it, but I kept seeing him going down and grabbing his big toe.
He did.
Oh,
it was in a splint backstage in one of those foot casts that you walk around in, and he even mentioned that he broke his foot. It was on the I think he landed 2 inside low kicks that worked for him, and he said he drew inspiration from Jan Blachowicz for that. But then once he landed the outside low kick, the regular one that he goes for, he went straight on the knee of Ankalaev. You know? Yep. And then it's almost in hindsight thinking, oh, you know what? Thank fucking God he smoked him when he did. Because can you imagine having to sit through that fucking shit? He's broken his foot. Now he's hobbling around in round 2, and it's the same as the last fight. So maybe that caused a bit of urgency. Yeah. Maybe he felt that and went, all right, we're going for this cunt right about now. Smacked him with it.
The Brazilian, voodoo, where they gave him the energy to get through it and muster up everything he needed to. That way, that would not, hinder his performance.
Yeah, no. I think it was an amazing performance, and it was a good one for him, because normally when a guy beats you and then you beat him back, the trilogy talk is in the works. But with this type of one, it's good for Alex Pereira, so he can move on, because it's like, okay, you barely beat me the first time, and it wasn't the best performance, but it was good. And I wasn't at my 100%, but I just fucking destroyed you. So it was more of a correction of a wrong rather than, okay, they're both 1-1. Let's see the trilogy here. Yeah. So I think that's good for Pereira as well. He couldn't have just won this by close decision, because then he's caught up in this trilogy and it just stalls, and he's 38 or whatever. And it starts to add, and now he can move on, stay fresh, and get on with the rest of his career.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I know usually from the press conference, he wanted to ask, when he jumped on the mic, he gave some respect to the passing of, John Jones' brother. And, in the press conference, he kind of alluded to like, hey, I wanted to ask to fight John Jones at the White House. I'm not going to lie. I'm not excited. I'm more excited for Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gahn to fight John Jones, to fight Alex Pereira. Only reason why is because these guys are fighting. They've been active, right? Like, I love John Jones. I see John Jones. He's a legend of the sport. He's a GOAT. He did come out of retirement because he wants that opportunity to fight at the White House. But I view John Jones as one of the legends. It's like seeing Vanderlei Silva fight. It's like, I'm tired of seeing fucking guys still fighting. Maybe it's they need to feed that itch. I don't know what it is. But for me, I really see Alex Pereira fight, either go to heavyweight. If him and John Jones' path cross, I'll Gucci. But I feel like this might just be just me as a person. I feel like I just want to see guys fight, guys who are fighting. John Jones, the last time he's fought is against Steven Miocic. In my eyes, he's still retired, right? Even though he's in athletic testing pool, he's had a tragic, something happen in his life. I'd rather just see Alex fight, Cyril Gahn and Tom Aspinall. I'm tired of giving these guys, opportunities. Oh, since you're this, you get this opportunity. But for me, it's like, I rather just see, if it happens, awesome, it happens. But for me, I'm not fucking, sitting around waiting for it to be announced like I'm waiting for the next Demon Slayer movie to hit the fucking theaters.
Yeah, I almost feel like Jones with the Stipe fight and then moving onwards. It's almost like the Stipe fight itself was almost isolated from the rest of the sport. It felt like I was watching an exhibition happen while the rest of the sport existed underneath it. So I think there's something that's good for John Jones, and then there's something that's good for the sport, Yeah. And John Jones is good for the UFC because of the money. And I'm sure Paramount are thinking, oh, please, Dana, bring him back. We need a big John Jones pay-per-view. But let me tell you this, DJ. Let me tell you this. If we're going to do John Jones coming back, there's some fucking order to be restored first in these divisions. If Pereira does go up, there ain't shit going on at heavyweight. I know there's a new prospect in Ante Delija who's now looking pretty interesting on the come up, and he looked good. Trains with Tom Aspinall, though. They're good sparring partners. They're family friends. So you never know if you can have that Merab Aljo thing. If Alex Pereira moves up, smokes the winner of Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gahn, or if Alex Pereira moves up and the winner of Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gahn, in the case of maybe a Jones fight, it's Tom Aspinall, smokes Alex Pereira out cold as well. If you want to then bring him back, now we're talking. Yes. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing else at heavyweight. There's still other stuff to go. It's not like anyone's career is being held back. Light heavyweight can go on and become its own division without anyone holding it back there. You need to wait for that sort of moment in the sport where it's like, okay, there's nothing else going on. Now we can do the silly shit. You know what I mean? Now we can risk a Jones return. Rather than right now where it's like, we have the contenders. We have the fighters. We got them. You know?
We're good. We have everything. We got Johnson Almeida still there. He hasn't had an opportunity to test himself. He's
fighting Volkov.
Yeah, we got the athletes, right? It's almost like, to piggyback that, it's like Kayla Harrison fighting Amanda Nunes. I could see why you're going to bring back Amanda Nunes, right? Because there's nobody for Kayla Harrison to fight. But in the day, if there's nobody to fight, should they even have a division? Right? Yeah. Like if the talent pool is that small, honestly, if it's that small, you got to bring somebody out of retirement to get the champion a fight. Should there be warrant? I mean, same thing. You go back in the day when it had, 155, then 170, 185. There was no 135. There was no 145. So there wasn't enough talent pool at 155. So they fucking cut the division, allow the division to get even bigger, like from the regional circuits. Then they brought back 155, and now 155 is probably one of the best divisions ever.
It's the moneymaker.
It's the moneymaker, right? Same with 45, 35, 25. So I think that's a potential thing you could do. If it's like they made 145 for Christina Cyborg and Amanda Nunes and fucking JDR,
Jermaine Durandamy.
Yeah, 3 athletes to run a division. It's like, and then they fucking cut it. It's like, I just back to bring it back to the full context. I think we have enough talent at heavyweight to, let this shake out with, Alex Pereira. Let's give it a year, right? And then let's say in June it comes around, and I just really like the aspect of Tom Aspinall, somebody who's been absolutely fucking just smashing everybody at heavyweight, has never turned down a fight, been knocking people, the shortest fight time ever in the UFC, taking
on average, right?
Insane. On average, and then taking on the hard-hitting Alex Pereira, middleweight champion, light heavyweight champion, 2-time middleweight champion. No, he won it. He won it. Nah, he didn't get it back. Middleweight champion, 2-time light heavyweight champion, knocking out people out fucking cold at 38 years old, taking on Tom. Don't let me take Conor McGregor, and then don't let me start promoting fights. I might do a better job than fucking Dana White himself. But
John Jones, a fart in the wind, basically, is what you're saying here. A fart in the wind is John Jones, but I know what you mean. And you know what? I made a post about it with, and even they have the imagery, there's the picture of Alex Pereira getting his Vaseline put on, and Aspinall's staring him down in the background in focus, while Pereira's out of focus in the front. I put it on my Twitter. I said, be there for the fight of the era. It's got 11K likes and stuff like that. And it's just like, there's something where like we have to honor the status of the sport, the standards of these divisions. Like, these are the top dogs, man. They've paved the way. At a certain point, we can't just keep dragging out the same old one trick of, it's John Jones is back again. We've done it.
If they do it
right now, we have these guys, and let's have them duke it out.
Yeah, if they do it, they do it. But I just feel there's more on the table. Then you don't have to do it, right? Like, let's say John Jones comes back, he fights Johnson Almeida. He was like, you know what? I want to be on the White House card. What do I got to do? They're like, okay, you fight the winner of Volkov versus Johnson Almeida. Bet. And then he beats Johnson Almeida. And then it's okay, perfect. You're going to fight the winner of XYZ on the White House. Perfect. I'm all for it. But I just don't like when somebody's iced, sitting there chilling, they get to pick and choose what they do. Maybe they earn that right. I have no idea, right? But for me, I want to see guys who are putting the fucking, rubber to the pavement, whether in all the accomplishment John Jones has done. It's amazing. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that if we got guys who are on the roster who are fucking fighting their asses off, they should have the first dibs to get on the White House. Even for Conor, we don't need his ass on the White House, right? But I know him and Donald Trump, they got some good things going. But I just don't want to see other athletes miss out on an opportunity that are fighting right now. But
and especially the White House card is going to be the ultimate casual attraction. So you're going to have the casual fans watching, and it might be easy to say, put on the big names. But no, the casual fans are watching, put on the pinnacle of the sport. That's what we need to represent. And also another thing, if Jones comes back, he ain't making 205. He ain't going back down to 205 to fight Alex Pereira. He
No.
could do, but I highly doubt he'd want to.
No.
So he might be in a situation where we're doing some silly catch weight that isn't for the title at heavyweight because imagine Garner has it and we got Jones and Pereira fighting at like 240 or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It would lose the order of things. So I agree. Alex Pereira is the natty light heavyweight GOAT.
And I will love to see if he gets the opportunity to fight Tom Aspinall. I don't think there's nobody left. You know, the Yuri Prochazka, he did look good against Khalil Rountre, but I don't know if I'm like, you know, I think Alex is destined for more. I think he's destined for more to go up to heavyweight, try to win, because he's 38. He's not young, right? Try his hand into heavyweight at the White House against Tom Aspinall. That would be fucking peak.
Yeah. And in my opinion, that is the move to make, the heavyweight move, because first of all, it's good to have him back. God, it just feels good to see Alex Pereira. Even the emote that he hit on Ankalaev, just on the dude, you know how crazy that is to do that to like a Dagestani guy in Ankalaev? I know his fans were mad, but I know Ankalaev's fans are raging about that.
The thing I love about that is like he does that, and it's almost like he's laying down. It's like, what the fuck are you gonna do? You're gonna get up and try to fight me? I'll put you back down, dog. Look at you. Look at you talking all that shit in the UFC PI, about to slap me. Look at you. Yeah.
Yeah. And he saves it exclusively for shit talkers as well, because he did the same thing to Jamal Hill. So he's like, this was the guy talking shit. Like he gestures at them on the ground.
Yeah.
It was just the result that we needed at the end. I miss main event first round KOs of pay-per-views of just like, oh my God, he's absolutely destroyed someone. We haven't had a lot of those recently. So to have Alex back just feels good. But I like the heavyweight move for him. I'm feeling it as well, DJ, dude. There's a lot of energy now in the MMA world. I like the heavyweight move as well because, as you said, Jiri had a great. Should we go straight to Jiri? Or we move. We'll go chronologically, Merab.
Okay, let's go.
We'll go chronologically. Let's go Merab afterwards. But Jiri had a great performance, but it's just not enough to overtake the fact that he's lost to Alex twice.
Yeah,
you know, the 2-0 down. It's hard to sell a trilogy. You have to sort of become extremely undeniable. It'd have to be a thing where Jiri has become a champion in Alex's absence, and then Alex maybe comes back down and Jiri's still there. And then Allberg is there as well. Carlos Allberg had a big win over Dominic Reyes. Beat Jan Blachowicz before that. Very close fight. But I think that's a perfect thing because you've got two top contenders that could fight for the light heavyweight world championship or should arguably be in a position to in Allberg and Jiri, which means if Pereira does move up,
give it to them.
Interim belt, vacant title, you can move on with the division with enough health and life without Alex Pereira's presence needed. So, and I always think they need something big at the White House. And McGregor Chandler's not going to cut it for me. And we might not get Makhachev versus Topuria. The stars have aligned. If Tom Aspinall wins, or even if Cyril Gane head kick KOs Tom Aspinall and steals the thunder and becomes a big star, I'm still in. You know what I mean? I'm still in on that. Obviously, it'd be much bigger if it was the two bigger names out of the two of them. But yeah, Aspinall versus Pereira, White House main event. That's the blockbuster main event we need.
Yes. That
we can rely on. Two guys that always show up, no controversies, no problems. Nasty first round finishes, the pair of them. That's what we need.
Yeah. And back on that Jiri Prochazka versus Khalil Rountre, I agree with you. I think, 0-2 going against Alex, it doesn't excite me. And it wasn't like Jiri blew Khalil out the water. Right? Like the first round was kind of, it was competitive. And then you can see like round 2, you see Khalil starting to have a little bit of trouble with all, I told everybody when I was watching, I was like, God, I wasn't talking, I'm not as animated as you are when you're watching the fights. But I was like, God, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I see Jiri Prochazka and all that movement. And I just see a man running out of the jungle who just fucking agitated a big fucking bee's nest. Just all the movement. I just couldn't get past it. But round 2, he started to, have a little bit of success. Not
he found range.
He found
round 2, I thought.
Found some range, but then round 3, he just threw caution to the wind. Just went after Khalil and just the push kicks over and over, and then just the movement. And I think a lot of people don't realize, like, when you're fighting somebody and you choose not to clinch, wrestle, you're constantly trying to keep that void, and you're trying to always, your body's analyzing all the feints. You're basically overwhelming your nervous system by, oh, he's gonna go, oh no, he's not gonna go, oh, you're not gonna do it. that zaps your energy tank. You're watching somebody for 15 minutes, fucking faint all goddamn day, like he has Tourette's. It wore on Khalil, and then that's when Prochazka just got in there, threw some great combination. He slipped one of Khalil's punches and came back with that beautiful right hand like he did against Jamal Hill. I was like, oh, fuck, man. Then it was just downhill from there. The elbow exchange, like, whew, like that fight
beautiful
was amazing. Like Khalil's durability and his heart not to give up. And they're both fucking warriors. Both warriors. But he inspires me. I enjoy watching him so much because after having him on the Mighty Cast, when he's fighting for, talking to him in Vegas, and he's like, I vision myself being a world champion, and you can see that he does not want to give up. But then once that left hook landed, I was like, fuck, great fight. But I think even though with that victory over Khalil Rountre, I don't think it deserves. I don't want to say it deserves because we don't know who deserves what. But I'm not excited to see Jiri versus Alex Pereira 3. Yeah. Like I wouldn't mind seeing the gentleman you just mentioned, Carlos and Jiri potentially fighting, and then Alex would go off and fight. You know, like you said, the White House. I think that's the ticket right there, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't warrant an Alex Pereira title fight, but it doesn't mean it doesn't warrant a title fight because he's a top contender. This is 2 in a row for Jiri now. I mean, he beat Jamal Hill, finished him, looked amazing. Now he's just done this, finished Khalil, looked amazing. I take that back. I think this was the worst Jiri Prochazka we have seen in the first 2 rounds. And maybe it was because of how good Khalil was.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because of how good Khalil was. We'll get to the 3rd round because I'm gonna talk about that 3rd round from Jiri. But the first round, it was like, oh my God, he can't touch Khalil.
Yep.
You know, it was very light. He landed a few low kicks, maybe that front kick to the body that he likes, but it felt like everything he did, he was like in like a weird like yoga, like he was hitting Warrior One, like on one foot at one point on the background. Yeah, and these like weird yoga poses. And Khalil was just coiled up. He's like a spring, right, Khalil? All coiled up. And then when you get in that range, very Muay Thai style, very dangerous, very fast. Even Alex Pereira in the first 2 rounds was like, whoa, you know, this guy is closing distance on me like crazy. Let me give him some space, some respect. And you saw he had to start getting the jab going in that fight, which is what Jiri ended up doing. Round 1 was not as crazy, but Khalil kept it in full control, and he had full control of round 1. Round 2, he had control for like the first 3 minutes of the round, I felt like, still landing big shots. Jiri's laughing at stuff. This is the demoralizing stuff that I think, you know what I mean? When Khalil's like trained this hard and he's doing this. Yeah. Like that. Like, oh, you got me with that one. And I'm like, dude, you're in a fist fight with like a light heavyweight powerhouse in Khalil Rountre. And then he even got hit with a shot like behind the ear when he turned his back to Khalil. And he kind of turned around and went, like, ugh, how dare you hit me with such a thing? And then he started getting his jab going at the end of round 2. And Khalil's eye starts leaking. It starts swelling up. And then in round 3, it was just like Jiri realized after 2 rounds, like, yes, this guy's a better technical striker than me. Yep. He's kept me at bay. He's shut me down in a way. But he can't KO me. And I know that now. You know what I mean? And then once he made that switch and thought, this guy ain't got no Pereira power to put me down. And pretty much everyone other than Pereira can't seem to put Jiri down in his UFC career, at least. I know King Mo caught him once with some slick shit before, ages ago in his career. But as soon as he realized Khalil couldn't put him down, it was like a switch. He's like, okay, we're just going forward. We're doing forward movement. We're breaking him. You said it, the kicks to the body. I think a lot of people in the comment sections were saying something like, Khalil just lost to cardio. And I was thinking, no. Khalil got his cardio sapped away from him because Jiri, in the middle of every moment that there would have normally been a reset where there's a bit of a breather, with any other fighter, Jiri would just dig him with that front kick to the body. And you could see Khalil just sort of go, oh, every time. And now his posture's weakening. And now he's easy to move around in the clinch. And then Jiri, I think at one point, threw 7 body shots in a row. Body, step through, body, left hook, body. And it was just like, oh my God, knee to the body in the clinch. That's what Jiri's underrated at. He doesn't headhunt when he's chasing, you know? He even had like Khalil with the single collar and was just winding up this right hand and standing there and ripping it to the body on him. Yeah, crazy poses, but it's a fight. And Jiri's got this different warrior in him compared to these other guys. You know, other than maybe Pereira because of his power, but when it comes into that chaos and it's all going down, he ain't going down and you are. You know, he will get you in those moments, in those crazy moments. That's where he thrives. But great performance from Khalil. But yeah, Jiri's third round. I mean, speak to that third round yourself, DJ. It was insane.
When he had him, first, the sliding of the yoga poses. That canvas is too fucking slick. It's just way too damn slick. All those sponsors are trying to get on there. I don't think they take into consideration of how slick it is on that canvas. Or, you know, Jiri Prochazka just has some very good, you know, good lotion on his feet. I'm not sure, but the man was popping some yoga poses. And you brought it up. When he went to the body, started hitting him, that's where Alex hurt Khalil when they fought, right? Like the head, he was taking a lot of shots. But then once Alex hit him to the body and you saw the way Jiri hit him to the body when he got that combination going on, you can start to see, like you said, his posture changed, right? And he was in phenomenal shape. Like when I saw him in Vegas, he looked fucking good. I think this is probably the best Khalil's ever looked when he stepped into a fight. Abs were out. He looked in the zone, but the cardio zap of that overwhelming of that all day, it just drained him. It just drained him. And then Khalil wasn't able to get, I mean, you know, Destiny and I were sitting there. She goes, why does Khalil grapple? Why does he shoot? And I was like, he refuses not to. He doesn't want to. And I think that was the biggest thing, that if you can't calm somebody down and you can't keep a beat on him, you can't keep up with them, you got to stifle them. You have to stifle them. But he didn't want to wrestle. And then Jiri doesn't wrestle. Jiri enjoys that fucking chaos, right? Like he's a guy who's getting better. I truly believe he's getting better. Like I always am hard on his fundamentals about keeping his hands up, throwing a jab like this, you know, 1-2, nice down the pipe. But he's getting better, but he's also getting better in the chaos, right? He's learning that when he throws caution to the wind, he's able to get things done. And I was listening to his press conference and he goes, I didn't realize keeping my hands up actually work. But it also, it's like...
Crazy to say for a world championship fighter.
Duh. Yeah. But when he's trying to be, sometimes, you know, when a guy's trying to be so technically sound, keep his hands up, move forward correctly, don't cross your feet, it kind of takes away what got them there to the dance. What got him to become a world champion, which is that chaotic, you know, barrage of punches, overwhelming somebody. Oh, you hit me 15 times, I'm gonna hit you 3 times. I'm gonna hit you a good 3 times. It's gonna change the next outcome of the exchange. And you know, I was heartbroken. I'm not gonna lie. I was going for Khalil. I love Khalil. I'm a friend of his, and not just because he's black chat, but I'm a friend of him. You know, everybody's always saying, "Oh, T's going to because he's black." Blah 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 blah. But great fight. But you know, I'm excited to see what Jiri does next. You know, I'm curious to see what he's going to do, what the UFC is going to do with him, how they're going to promote him. And then Khalil, I don't know what you do with him next. You know, I don't know if he. You know, I always throw that word around, retiring. But I think you maybe fight 1 or 2 more times and then, you know, just, I don't fucking know, right? My wife says, I don't know why he doesn't model. He's handsome. But I don't know if that's going to feel that itch.
You best watch it, DJ.
What?
Talking like that about Khalil. Even after his face in the third round, he's looking real handsome. Either way, though, I was rooting for Jiri. He had a great performance, not just because he's white, chat. I know this is forever going to be the back and forth on the Mighty Guru show. But Jiri to me is just like, I feel like I'm with him when he's in that onslaught.
Yep,
I'm with him. And there was a moment in the third round, I don't know if you saw it, but it almost like religiously converted me, where he before he started his barrage, he hit one of these like that, like a cross on his face. Like, I'm serious. Before he really started that barrage where he pieced up Khalil with a 3-piece, and it really became the beginning of the end, he hits one of these and then goes punch, cracks Khalil with 3 shots, and then he's all over him. And his running machine things, where he does those movement on the running machines while punching, you can see where it comes into play. He starts putting his head down like that, walking towards Khalil like this, just to grab him in the clinch, knee to the body, punch to the body. elbow. I don't know how he didn't go down with Khalil's elbow. When Khalil finally I think that was his last hurrah.
Yeah.
You know, Khalil was like, okay, he's on me, but I got this one more weapon. Clinch, bang, and he cracked Jiri, and Jiri literally looked like he sank for a bit, like.
Mm-hmm.
But then he pops right back up, elbow back. There's something else in him. There's something else in his heart and brain, and no amount of training can kind of make up for those things. The only thing that seems to be able to make up for it is that one punch power of Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
But you mentioned what was next for Khalil Rountre. Now we're done with Jiri's awesomeness. Flattens Khalil at the end. I feel bad for Khalil because it was the second time I've seen that image of him. And DJ, I've never seen you in that position. You've been finished by Adriano Moraes with the knee. You've been out technicality'd on a slight level by a close decision. You know, Cruz got one over in you early, hit you with the suplexes. But it's never been that. I've never seen you that broken.
Yeah.
And I've seen Khalil in that position twice now. And he's had some damage early doors. Kutalaba TKO'd him. Johnny Walker KO'd him. So it is one of those things where I think Khalil needs to realize that there's a lot, even to get back, it's going to take a lot of damage. Yeah. And seeing him crumpled on the ground like that in the third round was like, no one should take that amount of damage twice.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
That should be a one-time thing in your career. Even if for a GOAT, you have one of those, Jones against Gustafsson, you take that level of damage, and that's it. You shouldn't be taking much more than that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think for Khalil Rountre, next for him, if he's going to continue, he needs a motivation that isn't just get back to the title because it's such a far way away now. Yeah. You know, he's done 2 down. He didn't really have too much stake to the top of the division. He had the win over Jamal Hill. Mm-hmm. It's not like he'd rattled off a bunch of top contenders, right? Because he kind of got pushed up after his Alex Pereira performance. But I think in his mind, Khalil, if I had to give you any advice, redemption tour. You know, you got Johnny Walker, who's sort of back on form a little bit recently. These guys who have maybe beaten you in the past, I don't think it's wise for Khalil to go from these wars where it's all on the line to all of a sudden it's Bogdan Guskov coming off a loss, or it's, you know, some guy that he's never fought before or anything like that. I think that he needs to spot out people in the division, like a Johnny Walker, who's beaten him before, and try and catch him, or he needs to catch a guy on his similar momentum downswing, which would be Dominic Reyes. So I think those are the 2 names. If I had to advise his career, I'd be like, these are appropriate. They're both going to want some time, especially Dominic Reyes after a KO loss. Come back, take your time. April next year, May next year. Nothing too early in the first quarter. That's what Khalil should be doing if I had to advise him. And for Jiri, vacant title, or maybe Ankalaev if Allberg just gets the shot. We'll see.
Yeah. The hardest thing too, I think, is when you're at that, he has phenomenal stand-up. His stand-up can't get any better. Maybe timing, maybe step there, step this way. Okay, land the right hand. Okay, he was in phenomenal shape. It's like, I always wonder, when is an athlete going to take time to like, okay, I'm doing mixed martial arts. I have the opportunity to use more weapons and more tools in a fight, right? Does an athlete take the time to do that? Meaning, like, will Khalil be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to give this wrestling shit a try. Pop, double leg takedown. Pop, run the pipe. Dop, you know, like, when does an athlete, and the reason why I always say, like, if the athlete doesn't want to do that, if he goes, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep going into these fights with one weapon, with one set of skills. I'm not saying he has one weapon, but everybody tends to fight on the feet. He tends to fight on the feet and does not want to do anything with the ground game. And then it's not like you're going to be on your back. You can put him on his back, right? You can take him down and beat him up, do 12-6, whatever you want. But if an athlete refuses to not want to walk down that path or start putting effort into getting better, then I think you're limiting yourself to your full potential, what you could be, right? So in my mind, if an athlete doesn't want to do that, then it's like, I don't want to see, you know, like you said, he's been like that, the Yamcha pose, just 2 times. I don't want to see it again. I don't want to see it again, because you're just taking years off your life. That's all you're doing. So hopefully, you know, I know he's surrounded by great people. He's got an amazing wife. Hopefully they can sit down. It's like Luke Rockhold. You know, I talked to him. I was like, dog, stop fighting. Like, you're giving away your best fucking weapon, which is your kicks and your jiu-jitsu, your boxing. You're doing this. You can model, you can grapple if you need to feed that itch. And now he's like, you know what? I think you're right. Like, I think I'm gonna just start doing different things. So we'll see what happens with Khalil. But Merab, Holy shit. Let's talk about the machine. Merab. Non-stop. I mean, after his fight, I saw a video. He was in the club dancing, shadow boxing, kicking. We need to protect him at all costs. We need to protect this man at all costs. I said that if you find out your wife's been cheating on you for the last 5 years, Merab can come into your life and change your whole day. He'll bring great energy and put a big ass smile on your face.
It's unfair, DJ. It's I've never felt more angry for an opponent than when they fight Merab. I'm furious. So I'm like, what? I swear, I was thinking maybe the CIA would be waiting for Merab outside the arena with a big net because they got to test him. You know what I mean? They got to find out what's making this guy go. Because every human being needs some of that, I swear. Because they need to really understand, like, this guy is built in the endurance that he has. Yeah. You know, you saw this with other fights, even on the same card. You see a couple failed takedowns from him, or a couple takedowns that don't achieve much, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you know, you see the difference in them. Merab fails 5, gets 5, big pickup slams that don't achieve the back take or mount or anything, and Cory's right back up. And then he gets separated and he's rattling his teeth around, bobbling around like this. And it's just, and you know what's crazy about the Merab fight? I don't know if you felt this after round 1. I was like, oh my God, Cory's figuring him out. Round 1 was maybe the best way you can fight Merab other than finishing him. Cory shut down the takedowns. I think he got taken down for a second, put right back up, stinging him with shots, the low kicks. I was like, oh my God, he's getting off investment shots. This is good. If there's any way you might be able to slow down Merab, it might be chewing up that leg or finding the body. And then for Merab to come back in round 2 and think, oh, you think you got me figured out because you stuffed a couple takedowns? Put hands on him. Cory's nearly finished it. I thought he was done.
I did too. Damn. Oh, shit. Oh, go, Rob. Oh, Rob, you bad motherfucker. Georgia balls, big balls.
And I think that changed the energy of the whole fight. Round 2 was like, Cory thought, you know, if I just stuff the takedowns, I'm going to have a field day on the feet. And then he stuffed the takedowns, had a bit of a field day, and then it was a nightmare because Merab's nearly put him on skates, nearly finished him. And I think that just completely changed his momentum because now he's partially wobbled. And Merab, I think he took him down like 3 times after that. Big dunks. It just disorientates you as a fighter. Like, it takes you out of the status quo of a fight, you know, that you've trained for, that you've been on the feet for in sparring. It's just like all of a sudden you've been in a car accident. Merab's chucked you around 3 times. It might not have done crazy damage, but now you're all over the place. Yeah. You know? Merab, crazy.
I also think that when Cory, that first round, as he did defend the takedown, and then at some points, he didn't always create a bigger void. He stayed on him and started doing a little pot shot. Just little things, like you said, little investments, okay, to the body, just to show Merab, like, hey, I'm not going to be as easy to take down. And I was actually impressed how he was fighting, you know, Merab's hands and breaking the takedowns. And then I think Merab is so fucking good that he is willing to strike. Right, like when he fought Marlon Moraes and he got dropped, but he still stayed up on the feet and still struck with them. Same with the Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo rocked him. He still stayed on the feet. But then the second round, he kept going backwards. And I think Cory, their team, you heard in the round, between the rounds, the corner says, don't use all your energy. Don't go 100%. Because I think their strategy was like, hey, we're going to go the first 2 rounds, just defend a takedown. And then when it comes to 3rd, 4th, 5th, Merab shouldn't be as in good condition. He shouldn't be at 100%, right? If he was human. But that's what I think the strategy was. But when they had that strategy, I think it left it open for them. So focus on the takedown defense that Cory just kept going backwards, and Merab was able to land those fucking shots that I thought Merab I thought Merab was going to knock him out. I was like, he's finished him. He's finished him. Yeah. And then once Merab hurt him, and then we're right back to the takedowns. Like, Merab is so focused. He can fail 100 takedowns. He's going to try another more 100 takedowns. He doesn't get discouraged, where a lot of athletes, even myself, when I fight Henry Cejudo and I couldn't take it down the second time, I tried taking it out, and I was like, It's not going to happen. I neglected my takedowns against Henry, where Merab stays the path. He will not stop. Like, I'll never forget when Henry's about to fight Aljamain Sterling. He goes, what do you think about it? I was like, I'm not worried about Aljo. I'll be more worried about fucking Merab. Merab is a way harder fight because he doesn't stop. And then how he got the back and kept kicking out Cory's legs over and over and over. I think Merab, as long as he stays healthy, he will break my 11 consecutive title defenses. Even though he's only at 4, I truly believe there's no... Mario Batista isn't going to be able to handle him. Umar Nurmagomedov, maybe. But does he have that cardio? Does he have that wrestling ability? And then there's nothing... I think Merab is on the way to being the... I think he is the greatest bantamweight of all time when it comes to as a champion. Like, nobody's been able to do what he's been able to do to anybody in that division.
Yeah, it's just it's this unrelenting pressure. I actually feel like Cory had some good. I actually thought Cory won the 4th round, which was wild. Like, because he landed some. There was some
good
moments
shots
where Cory was proper stinging him with some good 2s.
Yep.
Like spinning his head, and I'm like, dude, he's landing the shots that should do something for him.
Yep.
These should be causing swelling. An eye should be swelling shut. That's what I think Cory's team wanted. Is like, okay, if we pepper him enough, we're going to get a broken nose out of him. We're going to get a cut eye. I know when Cory Sandhagen was hitting Marlon Moraes, he broke his orbital with a kick or something, right? So I think they were hoping, okay, let's wound him.
Yeah.
And then we've got a wounded Merab. But Merab just keeps going, jolting his jaw around in front of you. And it's even like he'll throw like a lead side kick to the head.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, oh, you're just adding some other weird shit into what you're doing. Like, this is too much to deal with here. And Cory, I thought, it's so sad because I was furious because Cory's doing so well. He's stuffing takedowns. He's back up. He's separating the hands. He's getting the underhook. He's separating safely. He's even like scrambling well when they do end up on the ground and ending up back on his feet and pot shotting very well, but it's just not enough. It's never enough to beat Merab, the bantamweight GOAT.
But I will say this. The one thing that Cory did not do that he does in all his other fights is he never rolled. He rolled to the legs one time. And that was, I think it was maybe the 4th or 5th round. He rolled to the legs. Merab ran away and it went back to the feet. When he fought Umar Nurmagomedov, he rolled a lot more. He created more of a scramble where each time Merab got his back, push him against the cage, and just kneed his thigh. He was so fixated on just fighting the hands. When Merab gets that S grip, the S grip has all this to break. When you have this grip, it's easier to break, but this S grip is very hard to break. If I roll to his legs, Merab has a choice. He either has to let go of the S grip and start defending the legs, or Merab hangs on to the S grip and now his legs are compromised. That's one thing that when I was studying video to do my final predictions, that's one thing I saw with Cory is like he's going to roll out the Merab's legs and create a scramble so it comes to the feet. But instead, there's maybe one scramble. Each time Merab took him down, he crawled himself up to the cage, fought the hands. Merab can do that all fucking day, right? But when you get taken down, you create a granby roll or a scramble, you roll to legs, start attacking heel hooks, start doing that stuff. You start to, even when I grappled with Merab and we weren't fighting, he would take me down. I go underneath him where he has to catch his balance and start protecting his legs. But we didn't put all that in the Mighty Journey. But that's one thing I thought Cory Sandhagen was going to do. But he was so gung-ho on just breaking the grips, hand fighting. Once we separate, turn around, jump on him, which I thought that was a good idea. Merab would move, go lateral, get off the cage, and reestablish that void, and then strike, takedown. So, yeah.
Merab's he's going to be the GOAT.
Yep.
Bantamweight GOAT for sure. It's going to take a super fight to stop him. It's going to take, because I know he said he respects Volkanovski, so he's not going to move up.
Yeah.
But it's going to take like him running into someone who can physicality with him, because, you mentioned Sandhagen not rolling for the legs. I think, Chimaev's like this as well. You think, I'll just do something different in the grappling. We were talking about this on the pod in person. And I think Sandhagen realized this guy's strong, man.
Yep.
He's real strong. He's real sturdy. And he's also like a stocky guy for the division. So it is hard for a lanky guy like Sandhagen to get under him without ending up on his head upside down, which I think did happen at one point, which is what you were talking about, where he sort of ended up sort of upside down on Merab, and then Merab's hitting him. And maybe once Merab hurt him on the feet, Cory was like, okay, let me not end up on bottom because he does have some heat in his hands. You know what I mean? But I agree. Maybe there's some adjustments. I think, but that's the thing. I think Cory did a good job, but it just still isn't enough. Merab keeps pushing. Merab keeps rolling on. And for the rest of the division, who's going to beat him? I don't see Jan doing it because I don't think Jan's got, I mean, based on the first fight, that was almost the worst performance against Merab. I mean, because it's just too much volume.
Yeah. And I think Merab is just way too much as a physical presence that, you know, you look what Aljo was able to do to Peter Yan. Look what, and then the first time Peter Yan and Merab fought, you know, I might potentially be able to see Peter Yan in Japan in November. So maybe I might get a chance to, you know, move around with him. But I just don't think I think Peter Yan has the striking ability, like good hands, get him nice and tight, drop something down the middle. But I think Merab's too good with the distance. And I think Merab, once he gets his hands on him, it's just not going to be pretty.
Yeah. And I also think that Merab was more of an incomplete version of himself when he fought Yan compared to what he is now. Whereas Yan, I think, is still Yan. Like, he's maybe added a couple tricks, but the ways that he's added tricks are like with his takedowns. And I'm thinking, that's not the answer here. You know, the answer isn't to add mixing takedowns to your game in order to overcome Merab. Whereas Merab's added striking into his game and some more heat in his hands. And I think that will really aid him against Yan. Yan's good, though, because he's vicious. He can cut. He can swell. He causes damage. So that's where maybe something could happen with Merab. He hits a lot harder than Cory Sandhagen also for Yan. But you're right. I don't see a guy in the division who's got it. You know, I really don't. With Umar Nurmagomedov, there's maybe a recipe there for some success. But I think, again, Merab has shown... Merab 2 fights ago was not the striking level that he's at now. You know, you're on the feet with Sandhagen and you're putting heat on him. I'd never would have guessed that would ever happen for Merab when he was fighting Aldo, when he was fighting Yan, when he even first fought Umar. He kind of fought Umar and beat him with just the rear body hook. He kept throwing the rear right hand to the body, but now if he's throwing heat upstairs on top of the pressure and the volume and the grappling, it's going to be tricky to beat.
Yeah, and I think I was talking to Joe Rogan this morning, and I said, dude, I think the only person who has potentially a chance to even give Merab a hard fight is Umar. And the only reason I say it's because Umar has that wrestling background, the will, the coaching towards, okay, you know, him, Habib, Islam, the whole team, they sit down and they're like, okay, let's look at the first fight. Let's see where we were successful and where we came up short, right? Okay, the gas tank. We got to make sure we address that, right? But when it comes to the grappling exchange, when you guys are grappling and going for the takedowns, that's where I think that X factor is. Okay, now Merab's got hands. Okay, well, maybe we can draw him into a shootout and we can catch him. I feel he has the IQ, the coaching, the training to be able to match a guy like Merab. I don't think Mar Batista has it. Obviously Mar Batista and Umar Nurmagomedov have to fight next, so we'll see how that fight goes. But I think Umar's the only person that can give Merab a fit. Other than that, I don't see anybody. Son Yodong, you know, he's potentially going to be fighting Sean O'Malley next. I don't know who is left in the bantamweight division. Patchy Mix, he's 0-2. Even though they train together, you know, I just don't see anybody beating Merab anytime soon. Anybody.
It's going to take a super fight, and I think that's where we're headed with Merab. Even though he said he respects Volk, and he doesn't want to fight him, he did mention he'd be open to 45.
I don't think he will because his buddy Aljo's there, and I think he doesn't, you know, they have such a great friendship, bromance, whatever you want to call it, that if he was to go up there and do a super fight and he becomes a champion, then it's like, I'm taking a little bit thunder away from my boy Aljo, because Aljo's right there. You look at 145, Aljo had a great performance against Brian Ortega, right? You got Lerone Murphy, who's about to fight Alex Volkanovski. Alex Volkanovski is older, right? So if Lerone Murphy beats Alex Volkanovski, then Volkanovski's out of the picture. Now you have Lerone Murphy, you have Diego Lopez, John Silva just lost against Diego Lopez. You have Aljamain Sterling is right there. So I think
Evloev's still number one in the division as well.
He ain't never gonna fucking fight again. Come on, boys. That man, he's never gonna fight again.
Who knows? We'll see him in 2 years.
Exactly, right? So you have a storyline that I feel Merab doesn't need to go up. I think his presence, his fame is just going to keep on rising. So I think he's a good spot where he doesn't need to go to 145. If Aljo retired, is like, okay, I'm done, I don't want to do anymore. Then Merab's like, okay, he's not there. I'll hold both belts. I want to be active 135 and I'll do 145. But I think as long as Aljo's there, I don't think we'll see a super fight. But I've been wrong before.
But we don't know the future for Aljo. He could lose, and then all of a sudden it's like, go ahead, Merab. Yeah. These conversations can happen behind the scenes, but that's what I mean. That's not the only super fight.
Yeah.
Pantoja, Joshua Van is probably coming up in December or January. And if Pantoja wins, you spoke about this, who's going to roll for the legs? Who's going to be able to tangle him up on the ground and not just make it end up in an over and over again battle in the things? I don't know if Pantoja can do it, but I think the sport is owed it anyway because they're just that far above. If he goes out there and smokes Van, which I think he will with a rear naked. And if he does and he sets that bar again, the sport requires some fresh thing for Merab to where these other contenders at bantamweight can regroup and have a real think about what they're not doing right. You know?
Yeah, but I think I think Pantoja has a skill set to do it, but I don't think he has the physical ability to do it.
No.
Like, when Merab's fucking big and strong. And I understand that the sports owed it because it's almost like you have these two entities of Pantoja just whooping everybody. I feel Pantoja, there's more work there to be done for him. You still have Manel Kape, who hasn't, they fought before, I believe, and that was a great fight. He beat him.
Yeah, it was a decent fight.
It was a decent fight.
Pantoja beat him.
Yeah, Pantoja beat Manel Kape, correct?
Yeah.
I think there's a presence there where I feel Merab is starting to get to that point where there's no presence for him, but I don't think it warrants because the thing that I don't like about the super fights is that if you have two guys who are on basically God Mountain, and when you take them and you bring them together, one god has to fall, which makes it not as appealing. It's like, oh well, I like the storyline to keep on being drug along. Like, man, what would happen if Pantoja and Merab fought? Oh, man, I'll be so sick. Oh, Pantoja just beat Joshua Van. Merab is fighting on the same card. Merab just beat some other guy. I don't want to, it's almost like, man, I don't want to ruin that for them. Where I think if they're going to do that, they have to do it at the tail end of their career and then they're done. It's like, hey, I tried my best. It's almost like Ilia Topuria chasing Islam Makhachev, right? Like, that fight is still there. If Islam goes out there and beats JDM and Ilia Topuria beats Paddy Pimblett, then it's like, holy shit, like something's brewing. We don't know.
It gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
And that's what
I know what you mean. Even though it's intriguing to me, and I think if Pantoja beats Van, there isn't that clear-cut contender because, Manel Kape's fighting Royval, but Kape pulls out a lot, misses weight a lot. So, we got to see how that unfolds. If Royval wins, Pantoja's 2 up against him. So, you never really know about that. But I hear what you mean, and I know exactly what you're saying is if you have Pantoja move up and Merab just fucking
ragdolls him. Just ragdolls him. It's
then when he goes back down to flyweight, he has no aura anymore.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, I guess you'll just walk back down to these other guys. You know what I mean? Like it feels like the step down, even though it wouldn't have been a step down if he never would have stepped up in the first place. It would have just been kept minorly stepping up in height. So maybe save it for like a big ultimatum at the end.
1,000%.
If it aligns, but maybe, I know what you mean. Maybe a couple more each could be good in the meantime.
Yeah.
I just think like these other bantamweights have families to feed, and they need their opportunities, and they need their opportunities as well. They've all dreamed of having that world championship, and it's not fair, DJ. Okay,
they haven't dreamed. Fair. They haven't dreamed harder than Merab. They got to keep on dreaming, baby. They got to keep on dreaming. He said, "Family's got to fucking
dream on, guys." So I know everyone wants to break down some of the other highlights of the card. We had Youssef Zalal with a quick submission win over Josh Emmett, which is wild because a lot of people have struggled with Josh Emmett. A lot of people have had a tough go of things. Not struggled with him, but struggled to make it look as easy as Zalal has, to say the least.
I think the reason why is because I think, how do you say his name? Youssef Halal?
Youssef Zalal.
Zalal. I'll say Zalal. I think the reason why he made it look easy is because he fought Josh Emmett somewhere else that people didn't fight him. Like with the transition, the jiu-jitsu, and when he had the arm bar, and Josh Emmett stood above him. He kept his head above instead of try to stack and move his feet, his knee in there. And also, Josh Emmett's been working with TJ Dillashaw for a little bit with the strength and conditioning and the mixed martial arts. But I think Zalal just fought him. You know, when Bryce Mitchell fought him, it was on the feet. When Ilia Topuria fought him, they were back and forth on the feet. And also, Josh Emmett is older, but not taking anything away from Zalal. He did a good job and tighten up that armbar and finishing him.
Yeah, I think it was good, I think, Josh Emmett has always been a guy who steps in with one overhand, steps through the other. And something that he worked on with Dillashaw was the the entries he was talking about. I've worked on my entries and the way that I close distance. Mm-hmm. And it was like, TJ does a lot of the steps coming in where he does a little angle. And I think Zalal just thought, he's closing a distance in a way that's ripe for a fucking well-timed double leg down the pipe as he does it. Caught a perfect timing on the takedown. Emmett's not an easy guy to take down. He's a very strong dude. Mm-hmm. So he caught a perfect timing on a double leg. Went to the back immediately. Nearly had the rear naked at one point, but Emmett sort of survived it. And in that, shucking him off the back, Zalal transitions into like a near triangle, switched it to an armbar. So it was a real technical submission. And when you're dry in the immediate seconds of round one, armbars, that's when armbars happen, off the back, especially like that. It's hard to fling one up in round 5 and get one. I think you didn't you get something like that? Yeah. Like a crazy submission with like a second to go or something?
Yeah, Kyojo Horiguchi. I was getting yelled at and I don't want to get fucking beat up when I got to the gym. So that's why I did it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Oh, yeah, he's coming back now to fight Tagir. But either way, yeah, great win from Youssef Zalal. I think his mic skills weren't the best. Yeah. He kind of begged the crowd to cheer for him, and he had a bit of a high voice going on. So he kind of ruined any claim he could have had to potentially get in a title shot. But something big's for Youssef Zalal, Yeah. And for a guy who started as like a bit of a kickboxing style in the UFC, to switch it up. We just spoke about this earlier. Guys don't switch it up, and guys don't mix in the other weapons. To realize, okay, this guy's an overhand spammer. He's a KO swinger, Josh Emmett. Maybe I shouldn't risk a 3-round touch him up. Don't get hit once or you might go out cold fest. We're going to mix it up. MMA is evolving and Zalal showed that. He's a well-rounded, good prospect in the division for sure. So I thought he looked good. For the rest of the card, Joe Pyfer turned the body cam off against Abbas Magomedov. Yep. Don't know if you saw that. He had some trouble in the first round. Got out-grappled a bit, but then in round 2, it started fresh, and he cracked. Dude, Pyfer's got some weird power in his hands, man. He's catching these guys while they're guarding, and I know that MMA gloves are different compared to boxing, but Abbas had a guard up, and Joe Pyfer's partially landing around the guard, and Abbas is stumbling all over the place, getting dropped, and then Pyfer even pulled off a submission. And to the casual eye, you submit a Magomedov with a rear naked choke. That's very, very impressive to Pyfer, even though we know Abbas does slow down past the first round.
And and also talk about the difference in guards in boxing, right? In boxing, you have, 12 ounces, 8 ounces, depending on what the glove size is that they use. Yep. Depends on the division. Depends on the division. And they also have the padding there. In MMA, it's always funny. If you watch, obviously you watch a lot, how many times you see in MMA, somebody blocks a high kick or a punch and they still get dropped? That energy has to fucking go somewhere. It's got to go somewhere. So if Joe Pyfer has just some ungodly power when he hits him, even though the guard is up, his brain is still getting rocked. The body's still getting shuffled over with that energy. So that's why sometimes when you X block, you put 2 hands up there, right? If it's a right hand, sometimes you go out to it, or you bring you move wide into it, you go into it. So, a lot of people don't realize that, like, you don't want to take, when I teach MMA classes, I don't say go bop bop and go here airbrush block. If it's boxing, I'll airbrush block. When I go pop up, I have to bring my hand out to, it's risky, bring my hand out to the wrist or the forearm so you can stop it. But trying to
intercept it, not accept it in a way.
Exactly. So that's probably why that happened. But go on, Guru, keep on cooking.
Yeah. Pyfer don't wrap his hands either. I don't know if you know that.
Oh my God.
Pyfer doesn't wrap his hands at all. He just goes out there, gloves on, swinging.
There's only 2 people I've ever met in my career who do that. Eddie Wineland and Jonathan Haggerty. They don't wrap their hands. They say, I want to feel because when I wrap my hands, I don't feel the impact. It's basically like 2 cinder blocks on my hands. Like I pad the shit out of my hands, right? But those guys are like, no, I want to feel the connection of leather in my knuckle, just in there. And
These
that's
are sick people. These are sick people that need to be administered and put into an asylum. This is crazy. You have the option to get some nice, comfy cushioning on your gloves to not break your hands, and they're like, nope. Also, with the blocking, you block like that in MMA. I wouldn't be surprised if Pyfer broke his hand.
Yeah.
If Pyfer broke Abbas's hand with a punch, you can't take a full blown punch on the soft side of your hand, on the back side of your hand like that. All those mini bones, you feel them when you twitch your fingers around.
Yep.
You break a hand like that. This ain't boxing, folks.
Yep.
But for the rest of the card, on the prelims, something I know people are going to want me to talk about are 2 fights. Well, we'll get to Patchy Mix, but 2 fights that we do need to discuss. Ateba Gutierrez, did you watch that lamb get fed to slaughter?
I did not.
That crime scene go down. So basically, let me lay out the storyline for you here. Treston Vines, is a welterweight. He's been at welter. He's a smaller dude. 4 days notice. They're finding a lot of low-level guys to give Ateba Gutierrez. They're trying to build the next Ngannou, which is smart of them. It's hyping up Ateba. You know, they had the Free Kings. They like that market. Yep. They have that audience waiting for another Ngannou, basically, right? And they feel like they got one at middleweight with Ateba Gutierrez. So they're giving him a lot of like, just knock this guy the fuck out type of competition. And Treston Vines came in on 4 days notice. He's been KO'd a few times before on the regional scene. And Ateba Gutierrez was a minus 2,000 favorite.
Woo!
Past a minute into the fight, he was like minus 4,000.
Wow.
Okay? Because everyone knew what was going to happen here. This was a sacrificial lamb. And I feel like the UFC should be held legally responsible because something bad's going to happen. If they need to give Ateba Gutierrez some good comp or something really bad's going to happen. The way I would describe this fight, if you haven't seen it, DJ.
I saw the finish. That was it.
You saw the finish. But the start of it, you ever had a mouse in the house?
Yeah.
When you were growing up, mouse in the house, cockroach in the kitchen, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You go in there, you flick the lights on.
Yeah.
It scatters. And you're like, oh my fucking God, something's in there. Something's in there with me. Okay, there's a mouse in the house. That's how I would describe the start of this fight. The lights got flicked on in the kitchen and Treston Vines got caught snacking on a biscuit in the corner by the homeowner. And he was off. Scarpering around on the outside, trying to find his way under the fridge, by all means necessary. He did not want to engage. You talk about the void, DJ.
Yeah.
He couldn't even smell the void. He was that far away. He couldn't even reach the entrance of the void. He was so far away from Ateba Gutierrez. And then when he did go in, he got hit with a knee and he was genuinely running away. Damn. I would not be surprised if somewhere one of his friends said, listen, buddy, we know you ain't winning, but we got money on round 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We got to make it there. But he did not make it there. He got hit with these 2 elbows to the side of his ear, wobbled in the clinch, and then boom, Ateba Gutierrez just viciously assaults this poor sacrificial lamb on the ground. So that was a big moment. I just thought Ateba Gutierrez should have been spoken about because that was a highlight of the card. And he's a good prospect as well. He's young. I think he's like 24 or something. You know, he trains at a good team. He does a lot of cross-training with others. You always see gym pictures with him in Strickland and other guys. And then another fight. Did you see JooSang Yu's showboating going wrong? That
gentleman's from Korea. I believe
the Korean McGregor, they call it.
Yes, I saw that. He looked good. He had some, he was show, but I always laugh about this. I feel, people, they want to be entertained, right? They want to, if 2 guys go out there and just put on display of martial arts, like imagine if 2 guys came out there, they bowed, and then they start fighting, and then once one beats the other one, he picks him up and pats him on the back, goes, hey man, good fight. They bow.
Some real Machida stuff.
Just real Machida. And then the ref goes, your winner is this gentleman. I think everybody would be like, boo! But I feel when you have that spark, it goes, he's dancing around. The guy that was a spinning back kick, he does a full-blown turn, like, where the fuck you going? And then he gets fucking, murked. I saw that fight, and that was a good back and forth. Go ahead, Guru.
He was farming like K-pop audience. You know the K-pop stands?
Yeah.
He wants them fans, dude, because he knows how feral and how supportive they can be. There was a moment where Daniel Santos got a takedown on him, and it was an angle where he was like propped up and he was above the back of Daniel Santos, and he tried to hit one of these.
Oh, yeah.
on the back of him or something like that. And I was like, he's trying to get edits made of him with K-pop in the background, with likey, and all of this. And he's trying to do all these poses. He wants that audience, that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he hit that after a win, if he would have got it.
Yeah.
But then round 2, Daniel Santos, who, by the way, for a guy moving up a weight class, completely out of shape and missed weight. That is disgraceful. But he put that heat on JooSang Yu. And it turns out floating around on the back foot with your hands by your waist and chin way up in the air remains the worst base for MMA.
Yep.
That is a game that is too risky to play. But if it would have worked, he would have been the coolest thing ever. But unfortunately, he's going to have to go back to the drawing board.
Well, and now that you re-brought my recollection of that fight, I felt that the shorter gentleman was trying to get across the void, and that's what prompted Homeboy to start emoting and aura farming, right? And then once he was able to get across a lot faster and catch him, then I was all she wrote. And then I didn't know he fucking missed weight. Shame on that guy.
Yeah.
Shame.
I mean, Daniel Santos was a bantamweight that missed weight. He's now moved up to featherweight, and he missed weight here, and he kind of forced a catch weight out of JooSang Yu on short notice. Like, JooSang Yu was cutting the weight and was ready to make weight. And the guy's like, oh, I'm going to be like 10 pounds. I'm going to be like 5-10 pounds heavier.
Wow. Don't worry.
Like, and you could see it on him. He looked out of shape. So
yeah,
I don't think he probably could have got a bonus for that KO, but that's now out the window. And so's 30% of your paycheck as well. So the punishment is there. But I mean, the humiliation was there for JooSang Yu. We've got to discuss, though, and maybe this will be the last one we go for on this card. Patchy Mix versus Jakub Wiklacz. Yeah. You want to take it away first on that one? Yeah,
you see a lot of these guys come in from different organizations, from Bellator, the PFL, one championship, and a lot of them, they just aren't as successful as I think they would be. Even though I've had high praise for Patchy Mix for what he's been able to do in Bellator. When he fought Kyojo Horiguchi, he fought Sergio Pettis, he made it look easy. He's a training partner of Merab, and I hear stories about Patchy Mix doing very well against Merab in training. But I feel sometimes when athletes get to the UFC, it's a different level, don't get me wrong, right? But some people, we call them gym fighters, where they're able to excel in the gym and maybe a little bit lower promotions of talent pools. But, when he fought Sergio Pettis, Sergio Pettis is good. I do believe Sergio Pettis is getting better, but I don't believe it was a Sergio. I could be wrong. I don't believe it was Sergio Pettis who was at 125 back in the day when he fought Humber Cejudo and all that stuff. No. When he fought Kyojo Horiguchi
is at 135.
Is at 135. Yeah. He's a 125er. He's not as big. I'm not taking anything away from what Patchy Mix has done outside of the UFC, but it kind of makes you think, it's like, fuck, man, he was a killer outside the UFC. What's going on here inside the UFC? He's having a hard time getting things going. Now, the first round, the guy was doing a good job throwing a lot of body kicks. Patchy Mix didn't try to catch him or run the pipe or get to it, but the other gentleman did a good job of tying up that guillotine over and over and over. And you saw Patchy Mix go to the side that you're not supposed to. Usually you want to be, your head's on the opposite side of your hips. But I know Patchy Mix trains with a lot of killers at 10th Planet with Andy Vercelis. So I wasn't too worried about that. But I felt like Patchy Mix just could not get anything going. And same thing on the feet. There's no rhythm in the pop, pop, pop. Like, it's almost like, I feel like maybe the bright lights of the UFC have just gotten too bright for him. I don't know what it is. I know he's skilled. We all know he's beat some amazing athletes in his career of mixed martial arts, but it's almost like that athlete who's in the UFC, he's 0-2. He'll probably get one more shot and they're gonna cut him. But then you get cut, then it's almost like, I don't know how old he is. It's kind of like you're scrambling. You're gonna go to PFL, you're gonna go, to Ryzen. What are you going to do, right? Maybe he needs to go up to 145. I don't know if it's a weight cut. Kai Osakura is going up to 135 now instead of 125. Another guy who's come over from Ryzen, a champion in Ryzen. He's 0-2 now in the UFC. He lost to Tim Elliott. He's lost to Pantoja. I just don't know, but I felt like something for the athletes who come over from different organization. RDR, he was a double champ and won championship. He was fighting tough competition, very good. Now he's at a division where I feel he's fighting his full potential at 185, big frame, big body. Where one championship, he's fighting guys like Anatoly, who's a heavyweight, even though he's
Malakin.
Yeah.
He's a sauced up monster of a Russian guy, basically.
Well, I don't want to say he's sauced up. I don't know. I don't want to say anything about that, but he's, but he's found success in the UFC where a lot of athletes have not. Pitbull, he's 1-1. Only other person who's found success is Michael Venom Page. But I just feel Patchy Mix hasn't found success in UFC, and I don't know if he ever will, because he fought a guy was the gentleman's debut, and he had a hard time. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, I should have gone the other way to Patchy Mix. But when I watched the fight, I kind of was like, nah.
Yeah. It's one of them. It wasn't one where you could get furious at like, Patchy Mix was done wrong. It's like, no, he should have done more.
Yeah.
There was ways to do more to secure it. And in my opinion, with Patchy Mix in it, listen, he did have great wins. You mentioned Sergio Pettis, who just got a nasty spinning elbow.
Ooh, it was beautiful.
Beautiful spinning elbow after being dominated by Magomedov the 50th of his name. This one, which was, this is the 50th of his line, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of the Magomedov clan. And he was like dominating Sergio Pettis, and what do you know? Patchy Mix has beat him as well.
Yep.
Finished him in one of their fights.
That's
Snatched him up, finished him. So Patchy Mix has got some solid wins. He's taken out like Team Habib prospects and Sergio Pettis and Raytheon Stotts, put him away. And Stotts is how Merab got in the UFC. He was Merab was the guy coming in to lose to Stotts in that fight. Dana was there to watch Raytheon Stotts and sign him to the UFC. And Merab played upset. So Patchy Mix has beat guys. And when I was talking to my live chat, I'm like, he was like good though. I feel like I'm pleading my case at court, like on the defense trial. Like, no, seriously, guys, he really did beat some people, because I didn't think it was, and here's where we're going to get a little disrespectful. When I watched his debut with Mario Batista, I thought, well, it can't get worse. The performance can't get worse than this. He's so stiff and so not fluid. But in hindsight, the way he was throwing shots in his debut against Mario Batista, at least he was putting stuff together.
Yeah.
At least he was comboing it up and actually actively trying. In this fight, he got taken down in round... Oh, no, he got the takedown in round 1.
Yep.
But then he got reversed. The other guy, Jakub Wiklacz, was Joanny and Jacek's prospect, another Polish guy. The Polish guys keep coming I feel like there's a new Polish guy on the roster every month these days. He's KSW champion. He was a young fighter. He wasn't anything crazy.
Yep.
Jiu-jitsu base. So to me, looking at that, I'm thinking, okay, Patchy Mix is fighting a not so great prospect. That's all right. Probably would have made the UFC anyway, but he's Patchy Mix, and this is a jiu-jitsu guy. So his best way of winning is where Patchy Mix is at his best. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But Patchy Mix got a takedown in round 1. His stand-up didn't look good to start. And then Jakub Wiklacz was like using guillotines to sweep with butterfly hooks.
Yep.
And, wrench him over and bridge over in certain positions, hit reversals on him. I think he hit him with an elbow in round 1 that caused a hematoma above Patchy Mix's eye. I don't know how that would have changed the rest of the fight, if that was enough. But if you're going to be something real, if you're going to be the guy that he said he was going to be, who's going to destroy O'Malley and destroy Merab, I mean, fucking Merab had looked like Prime Anderson Silva out there against him, even against Forrest Griffin and stuff. Like, it really wasn't a good look. And, a lot of people talking about the decision. I think what it comes down to is he didn't do enough on top position. And even though the guillotines weren't exactly finishing moments where you're like, he's going to get him with this guillotine.
Yep.
They were enough of a look to be like,
he's defending.
Jakub is the guy who's doing something here.
Yep.
So while we're in this guillotine, if Patchy Mix don't get out and smash him with ground and pound, Jakub's the guy who's done something on the ground. He's got the guillotine attempts, and he had a few close ones with him. And even in round 2, I think he did a little bit more on the feet than people remember with his like double up body kicks.
Yep.
But I remember watching it and thinking he's slowing down. Patchy Mix needs to, this is where the veteran, Patchy Mix, needs to pick it up and start pop with a jab, make him faint at him, body shot. But he had a real diminished adrenaline dump in round 2. And in the moment where I knew it was over, I screamed at my screen. I was like, fucking pressure him, you idiot. He got cuffed with like a groin shot. And he took the break. And it didn't even look like it affected him that much. And he took the break, and I was like, you just had momentum on this young kid who's thrown up all these subs at you. who's been on bottom in round 1 still, and you're backing him up, like now is where you need to put that pressure on. And instead, he took the break and took the reset. And it was just like, yeah, man.
I love
not the best.
I love how the refs like, that was a clean shot. Let's get back. I love that they're going back and looking at the shot to see if it was an actual foul or not. And then once he said, no, it was a clean shot, get back to it. He didn't jump on him. But I feel Patchy Mix. And I was talking to, who was I talking to about this? I was talking to one of my coaches at Jiu-Jitsu. And I feel certain athletes, I don't know what Patchy Mix's career was like or who was overseeing him when he was doing all these fights with Sergio, Kyoji, the Magomed, all those guys in Bellator. But I feel like he had somebody who was kind of like guiding him. Like, okay, hey, we're fighting Sergio Pettis. This is what we're going to work on. I'm going to do this. Okay, looks good. Where I feel, and I could be wrong, I feel he's kind of like what Merab is doing, where Merab does have the head coach, but Merab does what Merab wants to do. Right? Merab shows up to practice late. He doesn't warm up. He trains. Okay, he's done. Okay, I got jiu-jitsu tonight. I'm going to 10th Planet. I show up. I do it. Done. Some athletes, it works for them, right? They know what they need to do when they fight. But when you look at, I feel like for Patchy Mix, maybe he's doing the same type of training that Merab's doing, meaning that I'm sure when Merab fights, like when he fought Cory Sandhagen, I'm sure they look, okay, Cory's going to do X, Y, and Z. But I bet you if Merab, when he didn't probably need to watch any video of Cory Sandhagen, and he still would have beat him the same way. Where I think Patchy Mix might needs a professor to like, okay, let's look at this guy you're going to fight. Okay, he's good here. We're going to work on 1-2, angle 2, body kick. Okay, that's it. Okay, now we got him in a clinch. He's going to do this. Push by a left hand, right hand, where you can't do the same thing with Merab. Even Merab said it. I don't like to learn new tricks. I know it works for me. I feel like Patchy Mix has got in that maybe he's training like that. And also his wife, Tatiana Suarez, she's also a UFC fighter. So who's getting, you know what I mean? Like I feel he might be struggling with like having someone like, hey, this is what we're going to do. I'm in control of your training, X, Y, and Z. I don't know. This is me speaking outside of where you see someone who's had a lot of success against some great talent, nice in the UFC. It's almost like that athlete was never, I don't know.
Who he was. But I know what you mean. You're essentially, it's in a way to make it easy to understand here. It's sort of like some kids can go through public school and succeed. Some kids really need a private tutor.
Yeah.
And they need that one-to-one sit down. This is what we're doing. And they need that focus. And maybe some fighters go from being the sort of golden child of their coach and trainer and whole team, focusing everything on them, to just another guy in the gym.
Yep.
Like a nomad. I'll show up here. I'll do this. So yeah, maybe that's what it is. But in my opinion, once a fight for your life starts and we're in round 2, shit should kick in. If you've got it, shit should kick in. And, maybe Jakub Wicklacz is something all right. And he had an awkward time. And he was a bit like a Reina Derrida at bantamweight, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The way he was fighting, a bit goofy, a little
awkward.
Bit weird. Yeah, awkward. So maybe that was a bit like, oh, fuck, this guy's giving me a hematoma in round 1 off some goofy elbow. And now, fuck, he fucking broke a little rib of mine with the weirdest kick I've ever seen. So I don't know. I just think he needed more. Even in round 3, he had a lot of control in round 3. And I'm like, man, this is close. Rain him down. Give it some more steam at the end of this round. So not a good look for Patchy Mix again. Last chance. They should sell it as the last chance as well. And I don't know who's next for him,
Yeah.
I don't know who's next for him. It kind of does slip away like that. But, we can maybe segue from the Patchy Mix thing now that we've summed up the card. But no, let's talk about the card overall. What did you give the card overall, DJ? What do you think about the card overall? Let's sum this up.
I give it 8.5. I give it 8.5. Like I felt like it was really good. A little downtime for me because Khalil lost, but I think the Jiri Prochazka, that fight lived up to it. The co-main event, Merab versus Cory, lived up to it. And then for Alex Pereira to be able to come out and close out the night like he did, and then the fucking emote. I would give it 8.5. 8.5, almost damn near 9. Like I think, I didn't watch all of the prelims, but I was when I went to bed, I was satisfied. I was like, that was a great card. Yeah.
I'd say the main card was like damn near as good as you can get.
Yeah.
If Merab would have finished Sandhagen in that round 2,
it would have been 10.
It would have been like, oh, you can't beat this.
Yeah.
So that's where I'll say, and maybe an armbar in round 1 with a verbal tap. It's kind of a bit like, what happened? I guess it's over.
Yeah,
with the Zalal and Emmett thing. But I think overall you can't ask for too much of a better main card. What I will say is, bar the Gauiter and upset for the when showboating goes wrong moment. Other than the last 2 prelims, there were some good ones, but there were a lot of sloppy, weird decisions on the earlier prelims. So maybe the prelims could have been better. The early prelims could have been a bit better. But I'd give this a solid 8. Yeah, I agree with you. I think my understanding of some of the prelim fights brings it down a bit, but a 7, 8.
Yeah. Okay.
6, 7.
Okay. Well, we got. I want to transition now. We're done with UFC 320. Hot take right now. I think Conor McGregor is an absolute amazing promoter. I don't know if you watch any of the bare knuckle fighting, Jeremy Stevens versus Mike Perry. Okay, well, let's talk about the promotion side of it first. Conor McGregor is a fucking dime. He can fight good when he wants to fight, and he can promote his ass off. Like the banter he did with Jeremy Stevens and Mike Perry, and then Mike Perry saying, "You just fucking ridicule. You don't do anything. Why don't you get in here fight? Get in here fight. I own this fuck." Go ahead, do your accent. I own this fucking place.
We own this thing, you Madfilia. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
We've got no accolades in this game, Michael. Michael Perry. A fart in the wind, he was saying up there, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And even he was saying, if you don't perform, you're fucking gone. You're done. You can go back to your B leagues or whatever. And he was going off on Mike Perry.
Dude.
And it was almost like you could see the other people up there on stage like, oh my God, it's McGregor. He's doing his thing on the press conference moment, you know? You ain't going to get the better of McGregor on the mic when he's not stimmed up on something. He was in his sober brain and he was going off, or was he?
Yeah.
You never know.
I think it's so, I like that. I like that style promoter because it's almost taking that bad guy route. Like, if you don't perform, you're fucking gone, right? Like, I like Mike Perry, and I think Mike Perry has done a lot. And I mean a lot. And I think Conor McGregor knows that too, right? But I think he's stepping in that role of the villain. It's like, if you don't perform, you're fucking out of here. But Mike Perry goes out there, he performs. What a fucking fight. Like, Jeremy Stevens put some heat on Mike Perry. You can see it on his face. And then the one thing I love the most about this whole thing, because I kind of take criticism. I kind of listen to you, Michael, where you guys are like, UFC keeps doing these shit cards after another. I'm like, but what do you want? But then you see, after Mike Perry wins, he was like, with all due respect, the king of violence does what the fuck he wants. And then they bring in his next opponent, and then they get to stare off. And then he goes, I'm going to fucking knock you. He goes, I'll fucking fight you right now. Then let's do it now. Conor McGregor's in there. He's like, let me see what you guys, he's doing his stuff. Yeah. I'm like, this is fucking peak. This is what I think you guys want. And I think we're getting it in bare
No, I don't need that shit, but I just want some good ranked fighters on some fight night cards that aren't in the Middle East. That's all I'm looking for, Can we get some ranked guys outside of Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, please, on some of these cards? But I agree with you. The shit show is fun.
Yeah.
And it was fun with Mike Perry he was doing the McGregor line after. Yeah. I'd like to take this chance to apologize to nobody. And even McGregor was laughing. Attaboy, Michael. And smacking him. McGregor's very physical with these guys. Even on the walkout to the presser, I don't know if you saw it, he was cradling Jeremy Stevens' head.
Oh, was he? I didn't see that.
He walked out at the press conference. He gave one of the girls a kiss on the cheek, one of the female fighters on the card. Then he goes over to Stevens and gives him a little pat on the head like this. Yeah. And it's over to Michael, and he's hugging up on him. He's an erratic. Yeah, he shoulder checked Jeremy and Perry in their presser face-off. Give him a little fucking one of them or something.
And the best part, he goes, what do you mean? I'll fight both of you in the same fucking night. Like, you've never seen a promoter, right? Like, one, talk shit. He goes, you've never been a world champion. Like you said, you'd be farting to win. And I'll fight both of you guys on the same fucking night. I'm like, who's fighting tomorrow night? I'm confused. But I saw that. I was like, hot take. I think Conor McGregor is a better promoter than Dana White. He had me hyped. I watched the fight and I was like, this shit's fire. So that's my take.
He creates so many memeable moments, McGregor, In long form, sometimes it's like, Jesus Christ, this guy's fucking this guy's stimmed out of his mind, and he's constantly doing he's doing a new collar thing, and he can't sit still with his shoulders. But in short bursts, he has these moments where you're like, this is going off on Instagram Reels. You know what I mean? This is going to get 1 million views on Instagram Reels, him doing this, him screaming with the belt above his head while Perry and Jeremy Stevens are facing off. Yep. And Perry put fucking heat on Stevens, man. 5 knockdowns, was it? Yeah. Something along those lines. Put him down so many times.
And it wasn't like, boom, I hit you, I'm flatline. It's like, I can't take anymore. I'm taking a knee. Yeah. I respect to Jeremy for getting back up and try to make a difference. But Mike Perry is just built for bare knuckle fighting. He just is. He could take so much damage, which isn't really, he's taking years off his life, but he's able to make these guys quit. Make them quit. And fuck, man. But I think it was 5. The final, he made him quit twice. And then the final round, it was 3. He took a knee 3 times, I believe. And that's when he was like, okay, I'm done. And absolutely amazing. Shout out to Mike Perry, king of violence. And
I like Mike Perry, man. I think Mike Perry's sort of interacted on a few posts of mine. I think I was supposed to do an interview with him on his show a while ago. But Mike Perry, man, I feel like there's no one who has given more of themselves for money in this game. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's like, especially with this BKFC stuff that he's doing, I feel like every time I see Perry's face in a post-fight interview, I'm like, what the fuck happened? You know what I mean? What has unfolded in this BKFC fight to make his cheek like that? Yeah. His cheek like Joanna Jędrzejczyk's forehead against Zhang Weili that one time. It's insane how much like blood he's given for the cat. Like for like a self-damage to money ratio, I feel like no one's given it more than Perry, especially with this BKFC stuff, man. It's just breaking Rockhold's too thin. Again, with Rockhold, what are you doing anything but kicks? Yeah. I can go do fucking taekwondo. Nationals or something, you know what I mean?
There ain't no fucking money in taekwondo. We both know that.
I know, but karate combat might be his home. I wish he would have stayed there.
Oh, yeah. Right? He should have stayed there. He got a beautiful knockout there, too. Yeah.
With a Joe Schilling. Yeah. Thank God. Yeah. But yeah, that's where maybe you should have stayed. But Mike Perry's been doing his thing. I think there's a world in boxing for him, but now they're really putting it behind him in BKFC. And I think him and McGregor, even though they're shit talking each other up on stage, they have this laughiness and a little nudginess to each other, where it's like, even when McGregor after the fight, he gave him a little wink and attaboy, Michael. Give him a little slap on the shoulder or something. There's definitely a backstage like, let's sell this. Let's really champion you. I'm not going to fucking cut you. You know what I mean? He said it, but I mean, he's already said he's going to cut him. Yeah. Michael will never fight for this in promotion ever again after he lost to Jake Paul. And here he is again. I'm going to cut you if you lose. And if you lose this one, if you don't perform, Michael, you're done. Yep. Well, Michael performed. No longer a fart in the wind. A dense fart remaining in the room is Mike Perry. And I don't know if that's how he wants to be described, but great stuff on BKFC. Yeah. And
then now we move forward to Charles Oliveira. That fight card.
Other fight news. Did you see the fucking Usman Hughes fucking scorecard conundrum fucking weird shit going on?
I saw that he just dominated him. Like, I didn't see everything.
I saw Usman Nurmagomedov win. Yeah. But there was a 10-8 on one of the scorecards. There was a 10-10 on another. They showed the scorecards and they're like, this was actually wrong. Here's a picture of the real scorecards. And then that was wrong. And then they showed another. And then they showed a picture of an Excel spreadsheet on like slide 11 of an Excel spreadsheet showing the scorecards. And I'm like, PFL, are you paid by the UFC to like not compete with them? As a professional company, it was such an odd look. And I agree with you. I actually think Usman Nurmagomedov did win. I thought Hughes won a round in round 3. Yeah. So I was confused by the 50-45. But I think Usman did win 4 of the rounds. People were calling it robbery. I was like, this wasn't as close as the first fight was closer, in my opinion. Yeah. Than the second one. Hughes just didn't do enough.
But I feel when it comes to the PFL, they just don't have you're in a sport more than I am, meaning that you're on Twitter, you're scouting everything. So is Michael a little bit here and there. But it's not like what it used to be when you're watching TV and you're going to see, when I watch NFL Sunday, or if I watch Thursday Night Football, if I watch Monday Night Football, I'm getting commercials of UFC 320, Ankalaev take it on. I'm getting commercials. I didn't even know. I knew this. I knew that fight happened, but I can't tell you who was a co-main event, the prelim. I can't tell you. I couldn't tell you. So, when I saw the confusion of the scorecards, I'm like, fuck, I didn't know that fight even happened, right? So I just feel that, like, if it's like even with I saw a little bit of one championship of Fabrizio Andrade because I followed grappling, but I just feel when it comes to like mixed martial arts, man, BKFC or dirty boxing, I feel like those guys have got it down when it comes to promoting the fights here in America. Obviously, one championship, it's based in Singapore and Asia. But fuck me, man. It's like, I didn't even know what's going on. It's the promotions have to find a way to be able to compete with the eyeballs for the UFC, because if you are a casual, which a lot of people who pay the bills, who buy the pay-per-view of the UFC, they're casuals. But if you can't get the casuals to watch your product, then it's going to be very hard to survive in the market right now when there's not a whole lot of talent out there. If you want to survive in America, Asia, Japan, Thailand, all the other places around the world, it's a different ballgame, right? But here, we're Americans, we spend the most money when it comes to advertisement, merchandise, all that stuff.
Consumers in general is America,
Yeah, it's like, but yeah, I didn't see the Paul Hughes and Usman fight, but I think Usman's a guy who needs to be in the UFC. I think his talent is good enough that he should be fighting the UFC. But, he's still a PFL. They'll probably pay him a fucking big ass bag. But unfortunately, it's not something that's on my radar when I sit there and get ready to create content.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like sometimes people tell me you're going to stream the PFL, and I'm like, yeah, it's Hughes versus Nurmagomedov. And until the night of the fight, I don't fucking know Cory Anderson's on there.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know he fought.
I didn't know Sergio Pettis was on there versus so and so. If you overheard it in the gym and these guys personally, you'll know a bit more.
Yeah,
or you'll see a post. But I don't get an advert showing me Cory Anderson or Sergio Pettis. I don't get an edit show up on Reels. I see all that from BKFC.
Yeah,
I see a McGregor thing, and I'm seeing Perry and Stevens facing off, and even with ONE FC, I'll see a Haggerty reel that's gone viral on something, and maybe like a Nongo montage goes up, or even. Who's the fucking string bean of a guy for his division? Lanky.
Oh, Nabil. He's fighting Haggerty next.
Yes, yeah. Is he fighting Haggerty? Oh, no.
Yeah. It'll be a great fight. It's going to be a great
Haggerty,
fight.
Dude.
Yeah, it'll be a great fight.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I think so. But that's real dangerous, because I thought Nico Carrillo was like tall and big for his division. And he fought Nabil, and I was like, what the fuck are they supposed to do against this daddy long legs of a monster in this guy?
It's always
even still, I know about Nabil.
Yeah.
And he's not like a superstar. He's a big name and he's got a following, but I know about him. I've seen highlights of him. I've seen him. I'll scroll through something and I'll be like, who the fuck is this guy just head kicked Nico Carrillo? What's this that's just happened? Because they know how to I think ONE FC has a really young, hip marketing team.
Yeah.
With their edit, with their Instagram, with their artwork. They have you can tell they have 20-year-olds in the marketing suite, whereas I think PFL might have a 60-year-old bald white guy, like a Dana White replica. I know I keep going to bald, DJ. I'm sorry. But they might have a 60-year-old white guy. Let's say, you could have it. Yeah. They might have a 60-year-old white guy in there going, oh, just pay the Google advertising rates and we'll put a poster up on the local subway or so and so, and maybe we'll have a poster up in the bus station local nearby that could show them we're here. And it's just like, all right.
Hey,
you guys are going to fall behind.
You know what it could be too? Where was that fight at? Was it over in UAE or was
it in Abu Dhabi? Yeah.
And that could be it too, right? It's like, I always sit here and scratch my head. It's like, okay, who are you guys trying to cater to? Are you trying to I know Mike always talks about this, when are we going to get back to the UFC going to, they went to Chicago, right? They went to Chicago with Hamzat taking on DDP. They go to an arena. It fucking sells out. It's in America and everybody watches the event. And then, when they go to Qatar and all that stuff, I know they're about to go to Qatar. Who's on that fight? It's Ian Gary taking on, who's Ian Gary?
Bilal Muhammad, Ahmed Saruki, and Dan Hooker.
Yeah, Saruki and Dan Hooker. Muhammad is doing Ian Gary's Bilal Muhammad, right? It's like, okay, that's going to be free on television. And they might do a little bit of advertisement, but it's not going to get swept under the rug where everybody's like, oh shit, did you know Ian Gary just fought? Everybody's going to know, I'm going to watch that fucking fight, right? So, yeah. Maybe PFL can figure it out, but sometimes I feel like, the advertisement or promoting these events of these big, amazing cards. And I follow Sergio Pettis, but I didn't know he was fighting until he did that spinning back elbow, because everything is so under the water of just the UFC promoting their events. So
I think it's because they use the same mediums as the UFC to promote their events.
That is true.
They'll get posted on ESPN. And I'm like, dude, get your own lane. Get your own lane. Because what they do is they'll post a Hughes versus Nurmagomedov 2 face-off on ESPN.
Yep.
It'll get like 15K likes. But then right afterwards, a UFC post will go up about, they're not competing with Pereira and Ankalaev.
No.
They'll post something about Pereira and Ankalaev, 300,000 likes on Pereira saying like a line of a sentence.
Charmer.
That's what, and then it will completely overwhelm the Hughes Nurmagomedov face-off and any level of promotion for it. But yeah, also I want to think about these PFL guys. Then we'll move on. You can't think of any other fucking weekend that you would put your biggest fight on. Why are you doing it at the same time? This is why I'm starting to think there's some fucking conspiracy theory with everyone other than like ONE FC, where these like alternative UFC promotions are just like the UFC's side jobs. Like, oh, look at the competition. Look how shit it is, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they're almost making it so that it doesn't compete with them. Bellator did the same thing. I'm like, they're putting on a blockbuster card. What are you competing with UFC 300 for? You know what I mean?
Yep.
UFC 200. Find a gap. Find a week where there's no UFC. They come around pretty often and stack it hard and promote the shit out of it and own the weekend.
Well,
but they always fall on the same as the pay-per-views. It's silly.
Well, now you can't get away from it because now you have Dana White Contender Series, right? That seemed to get a lot of traction because he does have some great banger fights on there because you're having some potential mismatch or some really good talent on there. You have Power Slap. Yep. Power Slap's fucking, going worldwide. Then you also have UFC BJJ, which is ran by the UFC. And then you also have the UFC event. Now it's like Dana White has done such a great job of the whole week is all UFC content. Right? You think about it. We just had UFC 320, Sundays off. They're going to have the Mighty Guru podcast. Everybody and their mom's going to be watching that. And then on Tuesday, you might have Dana White's Contender Series. And then on Thursday, you might have Power Slap. And then you're going right into, Oliver taking on Gamrot, right? And then boom. Yeah. It's like
Friday's the face-off. Then there might be a presser. It just builds.
You can't get away from that machine, right? Yeah. Where, they did just have 2 weeks of no events whatsoever. There was no big, massive UFC pay-per-view. So it's going to be very hard to find that slot where you're going to fit right in. And speaking of which, you have the NFL, which is Monday night, Thursday night, all of Sunday. It's like, it's very hard to gain the attention of the consumer when you have so many different things you can watch and they're for free. So, I mean, how do you watch PFL? Like, is it on what?
$30 a month on ESPN Unlimited.
Man, once the UFC's off fucking ESPN, I am cutting my fucking ESPN subscription. I tell you that right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they also doing Zuffa boxing. Dana's going into boxing as well. You just can't escape the machine, the overbearing machine. I will overthrow it, DJ. When I'm in my 40s, I will lead a fight promotion to rival it, I swear. And we'll have face-to-face interviews between the fighters.
You'll waste your money.
I won't even enter that world.
We could do something better with all that money. We do something way better with all that money.
Maybe put it in an index fund. So, what we got coming up?
Oliver taking on Gamrot. We got that coming up. And then we also, they're going back to, let me take a look. I just pulled up the UFC event schedule. What's going on?
We've got Oliveira versus Gamrot in Brazil with Figueiredo Jackson, Luque versus Alvarez. Some fun fights on the card. We also have after that Derrida versus Allen. He's back against Allen. Holland's on the card. Marlon Vera's on the card. We got some solid fight nights. Brazil, then Vancouver the week afterwards, and then UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi. So we'll start with Oliveira versus Gamrot. What do you think about how it all unfolded?
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still not happy that he's fighting that back-to-back soon. That's my biggest thing about that. I think the opponent, Gamrot, he'll be tough. I know he's taking on short notice, but I saw that he was already in training camp, essentially. Like, he got it when he was at American Top Team, I believe.
No.
Where was he
He
at?
was in Poland.
He was in Poland.
He was in... this is why I love Gamrot. He wasn't in an American Top Team. He was in Poland, I think, or he was somewhere else, not American Top Team. And then because he heard Fiziev was out, he preemptively flew to American Top Team. Just even before he even had the fight. Even before it got accepted, he was like, I got to be ready. I got to take every day I can here. So he preemptively flies to ATT. And then I don't know if you saw the video of him in the car. Maybe Michael can bring it up.
That's what I saw. I saw him getting the goosebumps and starting to sweat. And I thought he was
so awesome.
I thought he was already there. I mean, he was there, but I
Yeah.
thought he was there prior to him getting the event. I mean, you get what I mean. So that's why I thought he was already in the American top team. I thought he was already in training camp. Like, okay, just in case, I'm gonna get ready, blah blah blah. But from what you're saying, he was in Poland. Fiziev got hurt. Fuck, I'm gonna go to American top team. He gets the fight. I just don't like the fact that Charles Oliveira is fighting so soon. He's not fighting a dangerous striker who has a lot of power in his hands, but he's fighting someone who's well-rounded. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Gamrot can't hurt him, right? But I think Fiziev tends to stay on the feet and throws more combinations than Gamrot.
Yeah, I think Gamrot's turned into a bit of a less consistent Merab of his division, you know, with the takedown volume. But also now there isn't nothing to worry about on the feet. You know what I mean? Because I think he dropped Dan Hooker with like a solid jab. I think even if you watch the Fiziev fight with Gamrot and Fiziev back, he was like stinging Fiziev with some good punches. So I don't like the Oliveira turnaround either. I think it's stupid. I think his team are idiots, and I think they don't have his best interest at heart. But, you know, maybe he knows better than we do about what he can take. But I think if it is going to be an opponent that he does this against, I'd rather it be Gamrot than Fiziev.
Yeah, you know? I agree. Because I can see the grappling exchange and them not staying on the feet, banging as much. And, you know, Gamrot hasn't never been the type of athlete that's like, boom, just a quick, oh my God, what just happened? Right. So, but then you also
he is really good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with Oliveira there if I had to pick anything. Same. I might switch back to Gamrot, but I'm going to lean towards Oliveira because I think it's ripe for if Oliveira can control things on the feet, he can decide when the shot comes. Rather than it being a surprise to him, like people trying to avoid the takedown against Gamrot. If Oliveira can march him down a bit, put some heat on him, I think we could be ripe for like a guillotine submission from Oliveira on Gamrot as he shoots in. Maybe, because I always see in Gamrot fights, he ends up getting hit, sinking to a knee and like shooting with his head on the outside.
Yep.
I can so see Oliveira cranking that classic Oliveira guillotine. So that'd be a great way to have things go in Brazil.
Yeah.
But what were you going to move on to there?
I was going to just kind of hit on more of the card. You have Figueiredo taking on Montel Jackson. That would be interesting. The thing that pops in my mind about this one is that Figgy is still at bantamweight, where I thought he was going to go back down to flyweight, which don't know how I feel about that. I mean, he's number 6 ranked in the bantamweight division. I wish he would go back down to flyweight because I think he has history there with Pantoja. Then you have Vincent Luque taking on Joe Alvarez. Not too sure about that one, but it's kind of cool to see Vincent Luque back after being Darkman choked by, our good man.
Kevin Holland?
Kevin Holland, yes.
Yeah, he's on the card after that, so I guess we're going to discuss him in a second. But yeah, Luque's back. Joel Alvarez is not a good guy to come back against, man. I've been waiting for him to go to 170 because his holdback, he lost to Arm and he got cut early with an elbow, and that's like his bad loss that he had. But other than that, he's looked pretty good in that division. And the only thing that's been holding back his momentum and streak is that he's like 6'3". He's like Jalen Turner.
Goddamn.
But a little bigger, a little bit broader than him. So I feel like the only thing that's been holding him back is that he can't stay active because of the weight cut. He has to really build it and prepare it. And therefore, he probably can't make weight if he has some kind of injury either. So I think at 170, we could see a good version of himself. So I'm worried for Luque in that matchup. You know, Joel Alvarez is amazing. And also the UFC, if they're going to have Ilya in Spain, they need another Spaniard. And Joel Alvarez is that Spaniard right now in the UFC on the come up. There's another guy they just signed on the Contender Series, got a tattoo of what Dana White wrote a note to him or whatever. So I think his name is like something Sosa, and his nickname is Bitches Love Sosa or something like that.
Bitches love Sosa. It's a rap song.
Exactly.
It's a song.
That's his nickname. Or it might be a joke that I saw on Twitter. But you mentioned Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. I think Montel Jackson's got him. I think we could see Montel Jackson get it done. Figueiredo's good, but I think he's 37. I think he's getting to the point now where he's like, it's Rio. This would be cool. Yeah. And I don't think he wants that discipline for the weight cut because, you know, he had the rematch waiting for him with Pantoja because he has a win over Pantoja.
Yep.
So you'd think if he was still in that mindset of, I can still be the best in the world, maybe he would want that discipline back to flyweight, but it is a tough cut for him. He's up at bantamweight. But I will say this, Montel Jackson's on the card against Oliveira versus Fiziev. Little old Guru, back in 2019, it was about 6.5 years ago, April 2019, a video on my channel, Prospect Spotlight, Montel Jackson, pointed him out from the start as a guy that would go far in the sport. And here he is competing against Davison Figueiredo, co-main event of a fight night. He's been very inactive in his career, so it's taken him a long time to get here, but he's barely lost. He's on a good streak. I think he lost early to Brett Johns. He had another fight early that didn't go his way, maybe against someone else like a Ricky Simone or something. Like, wrestlers have been able to get him against the cage a bit, but he's a really good striker. Not the most exciting. Sometimes he has some good KOs, but sometimes he holds it back. His Marcos fight wasn't the best. But I remember 2018 or 2019, I was making videos pointing out prospects that I thought would make a name for themselves in the sport. And I pointed out Montel Jackson as one of those prospects all the way back then. I also pointed out Kevin Holland, Marvin Vettori. I mean, these are all back in 2019. Mikel Pereira, who ended up making a bit of a name at a certain point, but not too much of a name. Cyril Gahn had a video about him in 2019. So, yeah, Edmund Shabazian. You know, Montel Jackson was one of those guys for me.
Then he give you a scouting job for the UFC.
Yeah, I literally had prospect spotlight Kevin Holland. Watch out, middleweights, because he was at middleweight at the time. That's 2019 March. Nathaniel Wood, 2019. He's now on a bit of a run.
Yep.
So yeah, Montel Jackson was one of the few ones where I was like, this guy's good. From the start, I was like, he's got the talent. I think he's got like the size. I may be wrong. He has the same glove size as Brock Lesnar.
God damn, no way.
He's a bantamweight. I swear that might be a real stat.
Wow.
And if you see his hands, you think, you know what? Maybe he does have some heavyweight glove size. So yeah, that's something. And you see it when he gets a grip on someone's forearm. They ain't getting it free. It's like Tony Ferguson when he used to get someone in that wrist control.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
nasty stuff. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, that card should be good. And then, you move on to RDR taking on Brendan Allen, and then Kevin Holland taking on Mike Malott. And then Marlon Vera taking on Zahabi.
Good fights.
Yeah, good fights. I honestly, with that one, I'm just more concerned. I just want to watch RDR. I just want to see if he get past Brendan Allen. And if he gets past Brendan Allen, then I think we have a clear cut, like, let's give RDR the opportunity to fight DDP. I mean, he's been on a fucking tear. Yeah. Why not? I know Fluffy, he was supposed to fight Fluffy, but Fluffy backed out. So I think you give him that opportunity. So that's the only reason why I want to watch that card. I mean, obviously, Kevin Holland, Malivera, those guys. But other than that, it's like, I want to just watch the RDR fight. That's it.
Looking forward to it. I think Brendan Allen is very winnable. I think Hernandez was a way worse matchup. Like a way more difficult matchup overall. Like Anthony Hernandez and Derrida was like two really dangerous up-and-comers. But, Hernandez gets injured. I think he tried to be a little too active for his own good after the Lidzi win. But Reina Derrida has been on a run, man. And he's one of the few guys, we spoke about Patchy Mix earlier. He's one of the few guys who's really made a name for himself. And I reckon he'll beat Brendan Allen. Allen has a knack for making the dumbest decisions possible in fights. And against Derrida, if you're going to put yourself in a bad position, he's going to take all the advantage,
Yep. And I think with Ritter, he's been under the guidance of Henry Hooft, and I think that's been very, very well with him. He comes from a great grappling background, so I think he should get past Brendan Allen and get the opportunity to fight Khamzat Chimaev. So,
yeah. And also, Brendan Allen's very square. He pressures a lot. I think he's ripe for those knees to the body. And he also likes to grapple. And I don't know if grappling's the way for his win against a guy like Derrida, who's a top-level grappler himself, big dude, got the 8-centimeter reach advantage over him, just to help with that little goofiness of the strike. And, you like to have a bit of range over someone to sort of cover for some things. Holland's on there. I think Mallett's going to sub him. I want Holland to win, though. It's always nice to see Holland get a win. He's a big name. Better for the UFC if he wins. But I reckon Mallet pulls it off in Canada. Neil Magny's been pulling off wins, and Mallet was controlling him on the ground really easily. So I'm thinking, Mallet can sub. Yeah, you can take down Holland and sub him. But Holland's very good, Holland is good. He could pull it off. Vera Zahabi's a good fight. I'll lean towards Zahabi there. And then next up's UFC 321, really.
Oh, how much? We'll just give quick picks on this one. We'll quick picks, and then we'll we'll save the rest of the juice for next time. Tom Aspinall taking on Cyril Gahn. You got I'm not even gonna try to pronounce her name. Verna
Jandaroba.
Yeah, Verna taking on Makiti Dern. That one kind of came about very interesting, right? Like, I felt like the champion, Wei Li, she relinquished the title. She's going up to fight Valentina Shevchenko, where I felt that there wasn't like, that's a massive fight. But I felt like there was no kind of ceremony or whatever that she relinquished the belt. And then now Mackenzie Dern, I remember she said that she found out she was fighting for the belt on Instagram. It's cool how the UFC does that still. And then you have Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Mario Batista, which that one would be a good one because I think the winner of that could be the potential next fight for Merab. And then obviously Tom Aspinall take on Saragon. Finally, the heavyweight division is going to be going again for the, you know, the title is going to be active. It should be a sick card. I mean, other than that, after those
Jailton Almeida, Alexander Volkov is on that same card as well. So there's a good heavyweight. It's a good heavyweight movement card, you know, for the division. But yeah, Tom Aspinall, you know, I'm going to be sweating. I've done a fucking 3 years of propaganda campaigns for him. Really put him over. And if he doesn't pull this one off,
he's got to.
Then I'm going to worry about it. But there's so much pressure on him.
Yes.
He's one of those few fighters where when there's more pressure, I trust him more.
Yeah.
Because when the stakes are highest, you said this about Patchy Mix, sometimes guys are gym fighters.
Yep.
I think Tom's did the opposite. You know, because sometimes you watch sparring videos of him and I'm like, stop putting out sparring videos.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of weaknesses that I'm seeing and chin up in the air. And I'm like, but in the fight, when it's all... And I think Cyril Gane might be the opposite. This is why I trust in Tom.
Yeah.
Because Gane is really technical looking, but when the stakes are the highest, he does seem to have his worst showings and make his worst decisions. And Tom seems to be the opposite. So I think it's a recipe for a Tom win. And we could be looking at that Pereira fight. But yeah, Umar's back. That's always big. Mario Batista's on his crazy streak. I think I'm going to go with Umar there for sure. I just think he's more well-rounded.
Yeah.
Volkov Almeida. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean about Zhang Weili. We never, because normally when you hear someone's relinquishing the title, they'll say it on the mic after their last win. So you'll get that sort of confirmation in the cage.
Or you'll get it on like Dana White, like, you know, Weili has just relinquished the title and she's going up to fight Valentina Shevchenko for her. It's like when Ilya Poirier did it, right? It was like massive, like ESPN covered. It was like a very, very big thing where it was almost like
there was rumors for a 6-month period first, you know? Yeah.
And then it was almost like she did. And how I figured it out was like, Mackenzie Dern and Jerna are fighting for the belt. Who was the champion before? I was like, oh, that's Weili. And I was like, what happened? And then I'm like, oh, she's going up. So that was like an interesting thing. But I think all in all, I'm excited for Jailton Almeida to fight Volkov, and then finally Tom Aspinall and Saragon to fight, because Saragon, he's a very big athletic heavyweight, right? Like he's got some good wins. And I just want to see Tom Aspinall more active. I feel we've lost a couple of years of seeing him active, and I'm excited for him just to get out there and just fight, just to see him fight.
Yeah, true. I like that though for him, because I do think he was a bit green. You know, he doesn't have many fights, and because of his inactivity, you know, his knee injury after the first Blades fight and stuff kind of kept him out from a lot of that as well. So I kind of think this is going to be good. Maybe he's been refining things. He's got Ante Delija in the gym. He's got other heavy. He's been training with Rico Verhoeven in his kickboxing, and I think this has been good for him. You know, he's even got my man Phil de Fries, the GOAT himself. You know, he's some KSW heavyweight champion for the past decade or something. Like, he just keeps beating these guys at KSW heavyweight. But yeah, Tom Aspinall, I'm looking forward to it. You know, I'm going to be amped up for that one. And there's not too much else on the rest of the card. As you said, I think, didn't you miss Dana White's IG Live when he announced Zhang Weili vacating her belt?
No, I didn't.
You didn't hear that massive announcement?
I didn't. Nope. Sorry. Unfortunately, I didn't.
He was on a phone. He was streaming from his fucking Nintendo DS. And he just got done playing Nintendogs, and he thought he'd just jump on real quick on the camera, the front camera, and tell everyone that Zhang Weili's vacated the belt. But yeah, that's that card. Not much else other than that, but that's going to be a big one that I'm looking forward to. And until then, that's probably when we'll be talking again after UFC 321.
Yep, and I'm sure as things go on, they'll announce the December card, and also that's November. Yeah, so I'll announce the December card, or then we have the MSG. So we'll get back together, chop it up, baby. But it's always good seeing you, Guru. Yeah, I was worried about you, but you still in a good fight, my friend. Good to see you again.
I am. I'm still here. It was weird, you know. I felt like September was just flying by with no pay-per-view and no show to discuss. It feels like a long time since we've done the last one of these, but what
happened? Uh-oh. Go
on.
The
UFC is planning for Ilia Topuria to headline its first Paramount card versus Justin Gaethje. That's the plan as of now.
You're lying right now.
That's what I'm seeing on Full Violence. Is anyone else picking up on this before we move on? That's what I'm seeing on Full Violence with a ton of likes. They're pretty credible. They don't just post bullshit. That would mean Pimlet versus Holloway, which actually would fix a lot of the weird order of things. I'm not seeing it anywhere more major than that.
Let's see. First,
I have heard rumors of it. Gaethje said he would retire if he didn't get a title shot. So I guess they're just held hostage by him.
Well, if we're going to go at that, I got Ilia Topuria knocking him out.
Yeah, same here.
I just feel after you've been dropped so much and you're going to fight somebody who's a fucking deadly striker, great wrestler, who has a chin, who's willing to put himself in the fire to land that shot. And not just a shot to the face. Let's not forget about Ilia Topuria's body work as well. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then Pimlet, you said Paddy Pimlet could fight who?
If this is the way they're going, they've made Dan Hooker versus Arman Sarukian. They've made something Oliveira versus Gamrot. They've made now Topuria. If they're going to do Topuria versus Gaethje, if this is the way they've gone, it only leaves Pimlet versus Holloway, which is
that's
still
a fucking banger too.
It is a sick fight.
Hey. Let's let this simmer. Let's let it simmer.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Don't want to get too excited. All right, boys. If you guys enjoyed this episode of the Mighty Guru podcast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live and go follow my good man MMA Guru. He's always dropping some beautiful content. As always, I'm Demetrious, my man MMA Guru. We will see you guys at the next Mighty Guru podcast.
Don't miss it.